What's up, fam? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Smooch Panda's YouTube channel. Putting some great videos on this channel that I have done with my periscoping. I am going to be leaving the Periscope platform as soon as possible. Anywho, March 18th, 2017, I had the honor and the pleasure to interview a great patriot and fill in as the host of Pillow Talk with Colonel Jim Pillow. One of my highlights in all of my Pandamoniums. A great interview from a great patriot. I absolutely hope that you enjoy this. Semper Fi.
Hoorah!
What is up, fam? Hello, everybody. I am Smooch Panda. You guys know me as Bruce. And tonight we have a special episode of Pillow Talk on the Pandamonium channel. Yes, that's right. I am your undocumented host of this scope. That's right. If you guys don't know, sitting to my left or your right is retired Colonel Jim Pillow of the United States Marine Corps, hence the Marine Corps anthem coming in.
Thank you about that.
typically we get right into the many discussions of the week whenever we do the pillow talks, but I've got a special video sent to me that I think everybody will absolutely enjoy. We're going to skip right through that video. You can catch that video on one of the videos posted on this YouTube channel. It's called an Eminem retrospective. While I am doing this replay, we'll go ahead and show you my working partner. My working partner is Grayson. He does all the hard work. Show him your Dixie cups. Say, yeah, that's what we do with our Dixie cups. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and skip right through this video and get right into the pillow talk, because that is what is important. And the other video is of course important, but already on this channel. So without further ado, clicking on all cylinders tonight. I will replay the video at the end of the show tonight. I will replay for the ones that missed it. Yes, a lot of people have been freezing. I've seen that. Even my own secondary device is freezing a lot. So, yeah, typical Periscope.
Okay. Well,
right. Well, we will get right into the news of the week, and there has been a.
I was hoping to be able to follow along on myself, but that ain't going to happen. Pardon my French. That's not going to happen.
Right. I will try and get questions as we go for you, Colonel Pillow, if I can.
Hey, my name, for y'all that don't know me, for you, the American public that do not, or correction, the MAGA family that don't know me, my name is Jim Pillow. I've had a very interesting life. I spent about 30 years in the United States Marine Corps doing all types of jobs. It was interesting and it was satisfying defending my country in a lot of strange places. But it was at 30 years, if you don't have a desire to be a general, they say, here's the door. Well, I'm very happy that it came out that way. Life is wonderful here in Oklahoma, and I'm very blessed to be able to have friends like Panda, Glenn, Adam, Brian that will let me talk to you once a week, and let's see what's going on. Now, one thing I want to do is, there was something that last night, I know SNL came out late last night, lasted about 4 hours. But one of the biggest things that came out, just to me, was to say, with all this, school protection, school this, and it was obvious. In Chicago, there are no school shootings. Why? They have the schools locked down. They've got a security system set up to keep violent whack jobs out of the school, or a method to shut them down before they get violent. Think about that. In Chicago, the murder capital of the United States, they've got it figured out to protect our children. Why can't Florida figure that out? We'll go into that later. But the thing is, the school in those very bad neighborhoods in Chicago, the children are safe in school. The problem is they get killed walking home in the afternoon or night. Think about that. They're safe in school in Chicago, but they're not safe on the street. Who's doing a better job? In Florida, they're not safe in schools, and they're safe on the street. Food for thought. Think about it. I thought some really smart people brought that one up last night. I know there's little problems with trying to trace down Glenn, but he's fighting and doing his best against the crazy people. Hang in there. Like Adam and Brian said, it's going to be coming to a close here shortly. So hang with us, or hang with the big guys. We're just trying to help out here and get information out. But we love you all, and God bless the USA, and damn, it was a great 30 years in the Marine Corps, and I was surprised it ended, but my body said, you can't go anymore. So I'm retired and I love it. I'm here in wonderful Claremore, Oklahoma, which you're going, where the hell is that? It's about 25 miles outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And people are going, exactly. We've heard of Tulsa in the songs, or where is Tulsa? It's on the western, it's on the eastern side of Oklahoma. Really good town. I could go and see all the wonderful things about the town. But the wife is from here. So guess what? That's why I'm here.
So 30 years, huh? 30 years you were in the Marine Corps.
And a couple of years in the Army before that.
For the folks that are new, that aren't familiar with you or haven't caught Pillow Talk on MNN, what exactly was, if you give us a brief synopsis on what made you decide to join the Marines, and then what you did for those 30 years, what you can talk. We know you did some things that you probably can't talk about.
Okay.
Here we go.
75 went to jump school. That's where you fall out of planes. 76 went to Ranger School. 78 was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. Joined back then, Special Forces a little different. If you went to Special Forces, you're kind of blacklisted because you weren't regular Army. So I went into Special Forces for a while, got out. Female issue. The girl I dated in college wanted to get married. I got out and she goes, "Thank you, have changed." No shit, I changed. But I'm not a college kid anymore. I got out, so I was a little upset, and I was drinking early at a bar, and the poor guy at the end of the bar had a nice uniform on, and he had missed mission. And for that month for the Marine Corps, he was a gunnery sergeant in the officer selection system for the Marine Corps. And we'd been drinking. He comes down. He'd been drinking a lot more than I had that morning, and it was before 12. And he started talking to him. I said, "Well, hell, I got nothing going on. Things have changed. Why don't we do it?" Usually, it takes several months to get into OCS. Remember, I was already an officer in the Army. Now I'm going to the Marine Corps, and it was 13 days I was in Marine Corps OCS. I think that may be a record. But went to, when we were in Ranger School, we had some operations up in the mountains, and the Marine Corps provided us with Huey helicopters for the operation. And it was completely different in the early phases where we had Army providing the helicopters. The Army, they had the door zone of the Hueys, and they had seats, and you had to buckle up before you left off. These Marines came in, there are no doors, there are no seats, they're dragging you in, and they're not doing safety. They're playing strict combat operations. The helicopter never stopped. It hit the ground and was sliding, you're pulling people on, and you're pulling the last guy on as the helicopter's taking off in the air. I said, if in my life I have an opportunity to fly helicopters, I'm going to fly for the Marine Corps. Voila. God said, sounds like a plan. Other things that work out for other people. So here I go. I'm in the Marine Corps. I go to OCS, which was, for me, was like a homecoming. In the Army, I was always a little off the edge, a little, that square peg they're trying to pound into a round hole. I got to Marine Corps OCS and said, it felt like home. The round peg of the round hole, everything matched, everything was good. Everybody, all of us were a little off center, but it was really a great group of guys. Started with 370 some odd candidates that wanted to go to OCS. We came out with about 120, 125. Pretty good attrition rate. Great. It was yes, it was very difficult. It hurt. It was hard, but the thing is, you knew you could make it through if you just pressed forward. And it'll be a whole nother episode of the crazy shit people did trying to get out of there. But for me, it was like being at home, and you could see the guys that, thrived on I got masochists, I guess, thrived on the pain and the abuse. And I guess that's what we were looking for. People we could mold into the right shape. it worked. I mean, for me, it worked out great. I wanted to be I was an infantry officer in the Army. I wanted to be an infantry officer in the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, I passed the frigging aviation test. They give you a test. Everybody take this test. Okay, you take the test. The needs of the Marine Corps outweigh everything. They were short of pilots. You pass the test, you're going to flight school. We had a conversation in a barber shop at Andrews Air Force Base. We could tell by the Corfram shoes that it was a Marine. And the green pants, it's a Marine. Yes, the age and stature and the way he talked, he was an officer in the Marine Corps. And there were 5 of us there that were down for the air show. And all 5 of us, they had said, they had told us that you're going aviation. We were, no, we're not. And so we're sitting there complaining. And Hawkins, later a Harrier Squadron commander, he said, they're going, I'm going infantry. I'm going infantry. And we're all going, yeah, we're going infantry. And the gentleman got out of the barbershop chair, pulled it off. He had 4 stars. It was Commandant Barrows. He goes, gentlemen, I've got all your names, and all of you are going to flight school.
Wow.
And you're going, well, I guess that solved that problem, Pilgrim. And it sure did.
Well, I guess what happened in the barber's chair didn't stay in the barber's chair.
He got all the way back. And we got all called in, and the great Colonel Cook, at the basic school said, gentlemen, I've just been, I had to say, gentlemen, your selection for aviation has just been endorsed by, and Hawkins goes, the Commandant.
Right.
Yep, that was it. The Commandant Barrows had said, you guys are all going to flight school. And we did go to flight school, and 3 out of the 5 made it through flight school. Myself, who said, Ogletree, yeah, and myself, Hawkins, I forget. He was an All-American here at Oklahoma, the University of Oklahoma. And Hawkins, they both got here, squadrons, East and West Coast. Me, I got a Combat Service Support Group later, but it was, we got to flight school, and it worked out great. Flight school was great. Got through flight school, I volunteered to be a helicopter pilot. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a helicopter pilot. And they, I said, I want to fly medevacs, because I'd heard stories about people that would not go into landing zones. I said, hell, I'll do that.
Right. So all the flight school is pretty general on every type of aviation?
Flight school goes to general. They teach you how to fly a fixed-wing aircraft first. Okay. They have a T-34, which is we call it the Super Weenie, which is a small turboprop aircraft that, you push it forward, and you pull off and you slow down. I like the not real bright I am. I volunteered to fly the T-28 Trojan before it went out of service. It was a huge radial engine. I mean, you could stick those 34s underneath it with no problem. It stood up big, had a huge engine, and instead of going gas forward, it was, I got a manifold, I got air pressure, I got fuel engine. It was teaching me how to fly an old style aircraft, but it took a while to figure it out. And people that know me are going, how in the hell did you figure it out? They taught me how to fly by the trim tabs, which was, I'm flying and I'm muscling the damn thing. And they took me up. One guy says, hey, let go of the aircraft. It turns over. And he's going, you're right. There's things called trim tabs. Trim it up. I trimmed it up, and all of a sudden, make small adjustments and trim it. Trim tab. No, I've been halfway through flight school. I mean, the earlier part of it about the trim tab. They told me that, boom, also my grades jumped up immensely. I was going, hey, this is good. Instrument flight was simple. Formation flying was instrument flight, not simple. It was easier for me than learning how to fly the plane. You learn on instruments. Right. All this stuff is the latter part of the training syllabus, and I got better and better. Formation, being able to judge the other aircraft boom, boom. Got much better. It was that initial phase of trying to figure out how to control the aircraft. And the one thing I did well on was emergent procedures. And I'm saying this because I don't understand it. I had guys that had flown and understood stuff that quit, and the guys had nightmares about flying in this precautionary emergency landing syllabus on how to emergency land an aircraft when you lose an engine or something. I mean, that washed out a lot of guys, and I was just completely I couldn't figure that one out, but I don't know, and I guess that's why they do it, to get people that, if you're in dangerous situations. But one of the funniest things I heard, well, I got through flight school, but that's another story, was one of the instructors talking about, he's flying in Vietnam, and he said something, everything is shot up. He says, I got on the radio and I went through my procedures. This is flight so-and-so, Marine aircraft. And he says, I'm repeating it. Then I'll hear this stuff, the feed, it's coming through the radios. And he says, God, there's another aircraft. It's another Marine getting shot down. He looks around and he realizes that due to the training he got, he was saying exactly what he needed to do to identify his location and what was going on with his aircraft, and didn't know it was him. He thought another aircraft was shot, and he was looking at some type of rescue or whatever. The training is amazing. At that point, I go, training is really good. I did that for several years, did a couple of West Pass floats. I was getting out of the Marine Corps totally, and my squadron commander says, this ain't going to work. He says, you are too good an officer to get out. And personally, I can fly a plane. I'm real good at confined areas. I'm damn good at landing on a ship in bad weather. But all the other stuff, I don't know. I'm just not really that attuned to it. So it doesn't make me a bad pilot. It just makes me one that will not be for advancement in the aviation community.
So you're not going to be a Blue Angel pilot, is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, the helicopter was fast enough. To get the Blue Angel, I'm going, okay.
Right.
I mean, looking at flying, you fly in front of the aircraft. And you'll see people driving cars. It looks like they're concentrating a foot in front of the vehicle.
Right.
And you're looking way out in front of you, to left and right. So it's a great concept. The school is outstanding.
Right.
I've been running the logistics department. No, I had been in the embarkation. I've been in logistics, and for 364, when we stood them up, I was the S4. Was I captain by that? No, I've been selected captain.
What does that mean? S4?
Logistics.
Okay.
Logistics supply. Supply is part of logistics, and there'll be an argument about that. But logistics is everything from procurement to giving it to the Marine on the front lines. Everything in between. Supply is accounting for it at warehouse locations. Okay, and I had a running gun battle with a 3-star about that, but that's another story.
That's another pillow talk.
That's a whole. But anyway, he took me over. They got me into logistics. And I started to shine. It picked it up immediately. All my Army infantry training helped me out. I'll go in a little deeper. There's this crazy old man called Jack Cunningham, Colonel Cunningham. And he has a sign on his wall that says, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear. And I've seen him send Marine captains out of his office crying. And these aren't female Marines, these are regular Marine officers, because he would rip you a new asshole. And he was really good at it. But, so I went to work for him, and he promised me, he says, you've got 18 months before you have to get out. He says, I'll promise you, you'll leave the Marine Corps a broken man, or I'll get you a 1-year swag to try to be a logistician. Okay. I said, sure, I'll take the bet. Well, he was a little wrong. When we came up for augmentation, instead of being augmented, they gave me a 3-year swag, extension on active duty. They kept me on for three years. So from there, I went to law school. From there, I went to 1st Marine Regiment in San Onofre's, California, Pendleton. Had a freaking blast. Had a great time. Ended up being I was the maintenance management officer. that sucks. But I did that based on what Cunningham had told me. I did it extremely well, how he taught me. And then the colonel goes, "You're going to move from that to you're in charge of maintenance." And I'm going, "How in the hell?" He says, "You're in charge of maintenance. If it's fucked, you're fucked." I'm going, "Yes, sir." And
Wow.
so, and then because the S4 we had was a Yale. He was a Yale grad, really bright, but had never been in a field. He was just coming out for a year and a half to check a box and going back headquarters from Marine Corps. He had worked on computers in the basement, right? So I became the regimental logistics, field logistics officer, and I did that for First Marine Regiment. And I guess I did pretty damn well because when they looking for moving reserve officers to regular Marine Corps officers, there's a selection process. I was selected as number one out of the First Marine Regiment for augmentation. Let's back that up. I'm a aviator that switched to logistics, and I'm in the Marine Corps First Marine Division, which is full of infantry officers, and I was selected number one out of the regiment. Now get this. Now we go to division, and I'm doing, the interviews and everything. I come up, I'm number two out of the First Marine Division. That's a division of Marine infantry officers. And I'm only number two because the general's aide is number one. Go figure. I mean,
Yeah.
It really didn't dawn on to me later that, hey, I must have been doing a good job.
Yeah. How many people are in a division for the civilians out here?
Jesus. Let's see. Let's roll a battalion. It's about had four battalions, five or six, three regiment. Let's see, that's 5, 6. I'm swagging this, so I'm just counting.
Guesstimate's good.
4 regiments, so 6 times 24. That's 24,000 in headquarters, about 25,000.
Nice.
And people there are going to be telling us out of the book exactly what it is. But swagging, it's about 25,000 with all the extra cats and dogs.
All right.
Or more. So you're going, I mean, back then I didn't realize it. So I'm now a legitimate logistics officer. And
Right.
the thing that saved me was because I've been an infantry officer in the Army. I've been an aviator, so I could tell them, I knew what the infantry guys were looking for. I knew what type of support they're going to get out of the aviation. So it was always, I could work the logistics in between that. That worked fine. I went to Okinawa as a logistics officer. I did that. We went out on Westpac, did real well at that. Had basically the commander. I was a captain holder in a major's billet, and the colonel got ill, so I had the deployed, what they call a MU support group, for a couple of months as the commander till the lieutenant colonel came back, and I did a fine job. They kept sending people over to check on me, but we're doing what we needed to do, kept everybody in line, didn't hurt at all for stuff. Came back right as the first Gulf War started, and they pulled us off the boat, put some other people on it, and sent it out. And then they put us on what's called the slurp to go fix all the equipment pulling off the MPS ships. And we got into Singapore and said, nah, the division said they can offload the ships. There was a white paper put out by the commandant out there says the MPF ships, maritime preposition ships, will never, capital letters, never be unloaded by other than logistics trained individuals. They effed it up so bad you could not believe. I mean, the general I said I had at Hartburn, we had an ongoing discussion about supply logistics. He went over there as a colonel to bring us back. And he said that all the mobile loaded equipment was all piled on the side of the dock. Now we'll go into this one. But mobile loaded equipment, every piece of equipment on an maritime preposition ship has numbers associated with it. And now they got barcodes on it saying, all this equipment on this truck belongs to either the air, the ground, service support, or the headquarters. It's all nitnoid down to the last piece of equipment.
Right.
Of who gets it. I love the infantry. Was one. It was, but they didn't understand how it would be put together. So they just pulled the trucks off and pushed it all out. Just shoved it off in a pile. All this valuable equipment is sitting on the dock in a pile. Okay, that's not only half of it. If you hold oil into an engine for a long period of times, it comes up, causes a problem with the function of the engine.
Right.
That's why MPF ships, you put in preservative oil, preservatives inside the system. It doesn't have the viscosity that oil does. And so if you run it down the road at about 70 miles, so 60, 70 miles an hour, you're going to burn a effing engine out in about 30 minutes. So
wow.
That's exactly what they did. And there was a lot of message traffic back and forth in this colonel, later lieutenant colonel general, sent back a message. Did anybody consider replacing the preservative lubrication with actual engine oil? No more message traffic on that. It died.
Wow. Wow.
And I mean, it's this thing going, and then I had one of the people that from my group that stayed aboard ship and went there was a warrant officer, Dudenhofer, some of the people, and we've talked about this before. And Dude said, I'm glad you're not here. And I go, why? He said, you would have killed some people. He said, yeah, I've seen you get close to it. He said, you'd have pulled it out and shot him. He said, they had to get the MPs to restrain him. And he was an EOD guy, and and then we later on saw the colonel that became a lieutenant colonel. Lieutenant general. He brought back a lot of that equipment that thrown off the trucks, and a lot of those trucks that had engines burned out. He brought those back, and I ended up with an engineer maintenance company. Go figure. Rebuilding engineer equipment. We brought, that's needless to say, we broke every record that they'd held. We fixed everything. We had a lot of stuff that had been on deadline for years. Got that all repaired, cleaned everything out, and by the time I left, we had nothing left to repair. It was
that might.
I'm an overachiever. Sorry.
Right. Well, that might be why you made colonel. Because I am a civilian, but my dad was a Marine, and I know that colonel is not an easy level to attain. I chuckled when you said that your subordinate or whatever said that they were glad you weren't there because you'd kill somebody. And I was thinking, wow, I was like, Colonel Pillow is such a nice, even-keeled, always smiling type guy. I mean, is there really a Marine colonel under that exterior in there?
Yep.
Thank God for us that we haven't met that Jim Pillow yet.
They're Marines that have, I'm sure they got some really interesting stories about me, but it's a different world, and you have to be at a certain level to get things done. And you don't put up with stupidity. I don't think I would have killed anybody. I probably shot him in the foot or the leg or something.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, because one of the things that tweaked me and got me interested on your story earlier, did you ever make it to the helicopter flying? Or?
Oh, yeah. I flew. When I said I went to Westpac, I flew CH-47s for HMM Marine Medium Helicopter Squadron 262, and my colonel that left that pulled me over to help stand up the HMM 264. Now, nice. I just saw tonight that it's no longer HMM, it's now VMM 262.
Right.
The Flying Tigers, the other one were the Purple Dragons. Purple Foxes.
Right. Well, my dad was a sheet metal mechanic down at NADEP, and which was NARF back probably when you were there. Yeah, and he worked on the CH-53, and that's where he started his aviation sheet metal, and eventually made the transcowls for the massive C-130 transports. So it was fun hearing the stories of him telling me about machining something down to like the 1/500th of a millimeter or whatnot, how it's just, the tiniest things. It's crazy.
Aviation is very anal retentive.
Right. Sounds like you're an adrenaline junkie there, Colonel Pillow.
Excuse me?
It sounds like you were an adrenaline junkie when you were a young man.
Yeah.
For nobody wants to go jump into the rescue zones under fire. Oh, I'll do that. Yeah, that sounds like you were
It's
definitely on a mission early in life.
no, it's initially it was how fast can I get to the fight? The fastest way to get there when I was 32, in the mid 70s was by jumping out of a plane. Okay, I'm going to go to jump school. Went to jump school. Well, how deep can you drive into the enemy territory? Ranger school. Go to ranger school. Well, who blows up and does stuff back there? Really deep. Special forces. That's where I want to go. It should just. And then thing is, though, at a certain point in all that, the Army stopped killing people, and the Marine Corps around the world was killing people. I mean, not a whole bunch, but in this engagement here, this engagement there, they're going in to relieve an embassy here. They were fighting. That's it.
And that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, I understand that. 91 was the year I graduated, and my best friend in the whole world went in the Marines, and I was going into the Air Force. And we were chomping at the bit at 18 years old, thinking that's what it was all about, go get into a war. So didn't work out that way for me, nor him. He ended up spending a lot of time in Iraq, but as a contractor, he missed out on the Gulf War. And then he retired before the Afghanistan and 9/11 and all that happened. So.
Well, I made the second Gulf War. The first one, I was talking to General. The general came down to inspect the company, all the stuff I was doing, and that's a whole nother case of beer. But it was. I said, well, he says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to Iraq. And he says, I'll make you a promise. When they call me to go, you will be the first person I call. Well, he didn't exactly. He did call me, but I came up to be a staff secretary because I guess I was squared away enough to become an administrative. You listen, Glenn is always talking about the administrative paperwork stuff. That's where I learned to be an administrative officer. I was working with General Cunningham and General Forney and being General Mutter's aide. General Mutter happened to be a Marine Corps, a female Marine Corps brigadier general.
Named General Mutter.
Mutter, Muller. Mutter.
Oh, okay.
It's absolutely a very brilliant officer, very smart, understood things. I mean, she was driving I left, and I went from there. They sent me somewhere else. I forget where, next station. But I've got the G3 calling me, the operations officer at they changed the acronyms, the group logistics, or the whatever, force logistics group, excuse me. And he's going, how do you deal with this? He was really trying to do. He said, I can't figure it out. I said, sir, very simple. She's very bright. You never go to her with one course of action. You give her 3 courses of action. You get one that you know is a throwaway, and you work the other 2 down to 2 reasonable choices, and you make one seem better than the other. You're playing the game. He's going, you can do that? And he's a colonel, and I'm like, by that time I was a major. I said, yes, sir. But she has to have all the information, and she may come up with something different than by putting those 3 together, but she now has 3 things to evaluate, and she's really smart. She'll figure things out. And then he called me back. Well, hell no. He got transferred to the same command I was at, and he goes, it worked. It made my life so much simpler. I said, you give the boss 3 ideas. I learned that from General Christmas, but that's another story.
Yeah, I like that.
That's another hard ass. The
Right.
hero of Lake City, he's a hard ass. Just never mind. That's another thing we're discussing him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I did want to get a little rejoinder, just to have people who, I know that a lot of people have tuned in from and watched Pillow Time, and they get to hear all the great, what's going on in the world from week to week, and your take on it from a retired colonel, and it's amazing. But I didn't know if people had the backstory on
sorry about that.
who you are.
I got really carried away with it, but
That's what I wanted.
Okay, well, I'll throw you one more. Let's tie everything together.
All
I
right.
got called up with one meth. We went to Iraq. I'm a lieutenant colonel. My boss goes, go up to CFLIC. And I'm like, what the hell, CFLIC? Coalition Land Forces Command. That's the headquarters. It's also Third Army with add-ins. Go up there, see what's going on, snoop around, see what you can find. Okay, fine. I'm looking for the still stuff, basically. I mean, it's what they got. They're looking at what they've got and see where they've left it. And, anyway, I'm going through stuff. Unfortunately, I'd been to a couple of classes and talked to some of the on the aviation side, commercial aviation, on how things work. And they pull out this is, I'm in there talking to them, looking around, and believe this or not, there were a lot of guys I was in the Army with that show up at CFLIC. Guys went to school with their ROTC. Go figure. I mean, I had cities guys. Who knows how long. But anyway, they got the board up, and I'm showing them how, spreading it out. It's a big stand-up screen with ship movements on it. You can pull it up and at that time you could pull up and see containers, but you had to hit the container, then get the number and type it in the computer to see everything inside of it. It wasn't as evolved as it is now. It was very futuristic. That I'd seen it only in training with the commercial guys, and I was showing them how it worked and how they could get their computers going. I got shanghaied. I mean, when I got through, walk around looking at stuff, they had already sent a truck out to MEF headquarters, picked my gear and brought it back. I was in CFLEC, and I fought for the next year trying to get out of that. I did that. I wrote a lot of orders, a lot of stuff. When Third Army Fifth Corps went forward with Third ID, they came back and said, you wrote all this stuff about operations after the conflict. You're now going to execute them on the logistics side. And guess where my happy ass ended up? I ended up going up to be Fifth Corps transportation officer in Baghdad.
Oh, wow.
And who was at General Sanchez is walking around. He's talking to his staff, and he just points me. He said, wait a minute, you're a Marine. What are you doing? I said, I am your transportation officer. If you don't want me to do this, I'll be out here. I took about 3 steps, and I got just crunched. The deputy commander for Fifth Corps was a big guy, last name Ski. I can understand Ski, but I can't remember the rest of his name. Kind of picked me up, the old light 205 pounds, and set me back down and said, sir, he's good, and I vouched for him. And so I was the only Marine there, except for the liaison officer for one MEF. And it's just, I did, there into, Fifth Corps rolled into CJTF 7 Coalition Joint Task Force 5 or 7. 5 got disbanded, 7 was, and I stayed there for another 5 or 6 months until I got my call from a Marine Corps boss going, Jim, the plane is leaving in 18 hours. It's a 3-day trip by truck or car from Baghdad to Kuwait City. Says, you show up, I'll take you back to Pendleton. You don't make it, you get another 6 months.
Wow.
That's called motivation.
Yeah? Did you make the 3-day trip in 18 hours?
Hell no. I had a real good Army Sergeant Major said, sir, don't you have bi-direction from the general? I said, damn, I do. So I wrote my own orders, cited bi-direction.
Nice.
At the bottom, put my name in and they said, bring Rich with you. Put those in there. Went up the Air Force never looked at it. They didn't put the first name with the bottom name, got on a plane, and we flew home.
Nice.
No, not home. We flew down, got to Kuwait City, turned our shit in, and got to the plane, and we were disgusting. The stewardess said, I don't want to complain, but you smell. And I said, it's glad to be smelled.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It was a night. Sorry about that, folks, but that's, then there's other stuff, but I did get to play. And it was real entertaining, and I did some stupid stuff, which was those you would like to hear. So next mega thing we got going.
Yeah, we'll keep doing pillow talks, and I'm sure Eminem will keep doing pillow talks till the end of time.
We can't talk about this stuff on Pillow Talk.
No, 10-4. 10-4. Maybe we'll have a drink sometime at one of our events.
That's what I wanted.
There you go.
That's what. But you were dancing all the time last time. We couldn't get you to slow down.
It's tough, but I saw you as well. I saw you and Miss Pillow out there doing the Cupid Shuffle. And I have got pictures for proof.
Oh, no.
But I would never blackmail a colonel in the Marine Corps, even retired.
Okay. All right. Hey, Pandy, you're right. We need to get too much about me. You get me talking. I don't talk about myself much. You got me talking. But we need to be done with that.
Blame it on me, the undocumented host of the scope. All right.
No, you're good. You're good.
We will get into the biggest thing. I guess the biggest thing that's transpired in the last couple of days. Andrew McCabe.
God, this week was long, but Andrew McCabe got fired.
Yes, he
Wow.
did.
And everybody's getting upset about it. Why? Do you know why they're getting upset?
Tell me.
Okay. Andrew McCabe, he got fired. Let's see. What was he involved with? Oh, he was part of Uranium One. Oh God, shouldn't that be investigated? He was the FBI, one of the FBI lead agents in the Uranium One scandal. Okay. Gee. And didn't he sign a 302 document that was sent to the FISA court using false and unverified information to get FISA warrants to spy on American citizens? My goodness, yes.
That's true.
And that's another felony. And let's see what else. Oh, and he was conducting subversive activities trying to minimize Trump campaign's ability to win, and then involved again in subversive activities to limit the ability of the president of the United States to execute his duties as president. In my opinion, a little effer should be shot.
Yeah, you know that he wasn't fired for any of those offenses. He was fired because he leaked to the media and then he lied to his superiors about it. So he did the same thing that Michael Flynn did, allegedly, and Papadopoulos. He lied to the FBI. So we've got all these other things that are floating above his head that he did. And so I don't understand. I'm with you. Why are they freaking out when they know that this is just scratching the surface?
They should march him out and shoot him. It's just, subversion is, what? Okay, he lied to, all of them are lying. But what did he do, lie to Comey? Or lie to the president?
Yeah, I think he lied to the IG. And he lied under oath to the House committees
Congress.
and whatnot. But I think it was lying to the IG was the reason why, that was the exact reason why he was fired.
Yeah, but we're sitting here laughing at the, we fired him out. Well, no, they didn't. They fired him for minor shit. The big stuff he got away with. And we're going, why did he get away with it? I'm just going, and then Democrats to the rescue. Several Democratic congressmen are offering him a job so he can get his full 22-year pension by working another 3 years in federal government. That's a slap in the face of the American public. And the only way we need to fix that is get a second special counsel, which has been requested by, Grassley. Grassley, Nunes,
Lindsey Graham.
Groudy. Okay.
Gowdy.
Gowdy. God,
Gowdy.
Groudy, and then again, Graham. Graham's a throwaway, but anyway, Graham. The other people are heads of committees. Say, we need a special second counsel, and how are you going to write that up? The last one that was written up was a piece of crap. And okay, we'll go into that one right now. Okay. You have a document that was written to appoint a special counsel. Per the special counsel law, the special counsel has to be directed to investigate a crime, a legitimate crime that can be found in the U.S. Code. Let's see. To look for collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. That's not a crime. So by design, let me back up. That's not a legal order to appoint a special counsel. Now, let's back up. That order was initiated by the availability of the Steele dossier that we know was lies and unverified allegations. The FBI said that. So the basis for establishing a special counsel order is based on fraudulent and disinformation. Thus, why somebody say this? That says that the special counsel order is invalid. Now, also, the way the damn thing was written, is contrary or against the special counsel law. You have to give a specified crime that has been committed. We got just check out if there was any collusion. And, oh, by the way, find any other crimes. Yeah, throw those into the basket. That's horse crap. Rosenstein should be fired based on the way he wrote that, because it's a piece of crap that shows lack of any type of experience. I could have written something. I don't think I would have written that, but Bozo could have written. Bozo the Clown could probably have written something like that was completely out of order with the order, or out of sync with the special counsel appointment order. So basically, you've got why we have a special counsel and nobody's brought this up, that he's illegally investigating the president based on an unverified and proven dossier. That's just, I'm trying to leave out the 4-word adjectives if you can't tell. Basically, the Mueller investigation is sham. They've got Metaphor for money laundering. They've got Papadopoulos for forgetting what week he did something. They've got Major Flynn on, we're not really sure, but the new judge that has been appointed to look at that is asking for all the evidence they have that is going to try, that they forced him into pleading guilty to that lying to the FBI or to federal officers. I think we're going to find out that they're probably going to throw that one out of court, because there's a lot of other things that didn't apply to General Flynn that I think they got him on. One, they're breaking him financially, and they're going after his son for some mealy mouth, who knows what. Remember, 13 of the 16 individuals on Mueller's committee are Democrat donors and activists, to include Mueller. You've only got 3 that are neutral. So you're saying you got a stacked deck. Now, the biggest issue is that about not firing Mueller, which blew me away when I found out about this, is that if Trump fires Mueller or removes Mueller or does anything, he is basically, his advisor tell him, you do that, at least a third of the GOP is going to go for impeachment of you. The GOP, 1/3 of those lying SOBs, non-Trumpers, establishment guys, are going to vote to impeach the president. Why? It's in their financial best interest to get rid of Trump.
Oh, yeah.
That includes McConnell, Ryan, and I'm starting to say Gowdy, and a lot of other these guys that are getting a lot of money from K Street, the the Chamber of Commerce and the Round Table. You're going, how can it think it's a logical connect the dots issue? It's, you want to rip somebody's throat out.
Right.
You can't do that.
Well,
it's just that these guys should be, vote them out.
Let me ask you this.
Ray Gowdy, Ryan, and other people they're leaving the House of Representatives because they know that they can't survive more in the next round with Trump.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, because
sorry about that. I get on a soapbox.
Oh, you're fine. The Mueller thing has really got me wondered, because I mean, everything that you have said, is fact. 13 of these 16 are headhunters. I mean, are people that have had a lot of issues with morality and just overzealous prosecutions and whatnot. He put that whole team together. Everybody on the right was screaming. Everything he's done has been basically saying, why don't you fire me? I'm wondering here, because Rosenstein wrote this thing that was pretty much against the special prosecutor law. He didn't put a scope on it at all whatsoever. And Trump even said, or his lawyers said, if they go after the Trump organization or others, that's a red line. And any time that President Trump has set a red line, it's almost like Mueller has been going right for it and saying, I dare you, I dare you, I dare you. It almost seems to me like the main strategy that Mueller, and I see Bob Mueller's in the room. Hey, Bob. It seems to me the main strategy is they want Trump to fire him. They want Trump to fire them. Therefore, then they can say, well, he's obstructing justice on a non, he hasn't even committed a crime. There isn't even a crime here. And yet they're trying to say that he's obstructing justice, and they're daring President Trump to fire this guy. Is that the feeling that you're getting out of this, or?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, well, not Mueller, but Mueller's headhunter, Wasserman, I think it's maybe Wasserman, whatever. He was the one that
Weissman.
did the Weissman.
Andrew Weissman.
He did the what was that insurance company or the electric company? Enron. Got it. They found out that he used false information to get that. And by doing that, he put Enron out of business, and he put another company, he put 3,200 people out of work.
Right. Put a few of them in jail.
What?
And a few of them went to jail.
Yeah, well, whatever the guy that ran it, yeah, it was a Ponzi scheme, but the information used was illegal, and bringing in the other company, the financial company, it was the accountants they brought in. He killed the accounting firm, which was one of the big 5 accounting firms. He killed them, and they found out later that everything he brought in there was fraudulent information, and he's done that several times. So he is a very corrupt prosecutor by his resume. And you've got this guy in there leading the fucking charge.
Right.
Mueller's got a long history of massive failures. What was the anthrax failure? They went after the wrong guy, tried to prosecute and realized they were wrong, went back the other direction, destroyed the man's life, and, too effing bad. Hey, let's keep going this way. I mean, Mueller's not the brightest tool in the shed. I mean, the guy's not, you do not have to fire somebody. You can replace them due to a variety of things. Mueller's got 4 or 5 things that he should have recused himself on.
Right.
And the president can say, due to the fact that your judgment is so poor, the fact that you have failed to recuse yourself on the following facts. Again, a television show, and just let them out. A honest person would have recused himself and would have not taken the job. And then he says, now we have this individual from the heartland of the country. He is appointed. Your 13 zealot Democrats, or we're going to replace them with 8 and 8, or we're going to get people that we can find who are as neutral as possible throughout the freaking country, some in the government and some out of the government, to be appointed, and just reappoint the committee and say you're looking for any time. And the only other thing is a conspiracy to violate U.S. election laws is the closest law that they could violate.
Right.
And they just put it, this is a law, and this is in compliance with whatever the U.S. code is for appointing a special counsel, and just say, I'm not firing anybody. I'm just getting a legitimate, middle-of-the-road group. These guys have been in 14 months. They can't find anything,
right,
and they can't write, and they can't close it. We're going to have another group of people look at it. That's one method. The other method is a second special counsel that starts with a Steele dossier, and it goes directly to Mueller, and they will and a new special counsel will shut that damn thing down. Because, like we said, it's based on a fraudulent document or dossier that started the investigation.
Yeah,
And then,
it was fraudulent from the get. I mean, Mueller, the biggest from the very beginning when he was announced, and both sides, all of them establishment, said that this guy was impeccable and his character was unquestioned. I knew something was wrong then, but he hasn't even given the appearance that he wants to do this fairly. He hasn't even not even made it even tried to make it look like President Trump's getting a fair shot. That's why it just rings so true to me that they're begging Trump to fire him, because then what?
They can do the impeachment process.
Exactly.
If he fires him before the midterms, they'll get a big blue wave, and then they'll go for impeachment.
Right, exactly. And so it's obvious. You see President Trump and a lot of people saying Mueller should be fired, shut down this investigation. But he knows that's what they want. That's what they want. So, what is it left? Where is his backup? His backup is supposed to be his attorney general. And his attorney general recused himself. I mean, the hypocrisy's crazy. The left was right on Jeff Sessions from the beginning. You must recuse. No one has said that to Mueller.
Did you realize that the law that Jeff Sessions quoted for his reason to recuse himself was the wrong law?
Yeah, he got given really bad advice.
Incorrect on what he was saying. So it's hard to say. He's been compromised. We talked about Trey Gowdy being compromised. We know that somebody has evidence of putting the weenie in the wrong spot or something about things, or if they're a participant in a dog and pony show playing the dog or the pony. I don't know. It's just the dog and pony show, for you folks that don't really understand where that came from, need to ask some military people that's seen some real interesting dog and pony shows. And you go, what the hell?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. What the hell? And I have too vivid of an imagination for that, Colonel. So it does kind of lead into the other point, too. You were talking about, Mueller went after Flynn, and we just recently this week found out that the judge that accepted the plea from Michael Flynn got recused 6 or 7 days after he accepted his plea. And now we have a new judge come in and says, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. I want to see all the exculpatory evidence, and I decide what's exculpatory. That statement in itself is freaking huge, because he's not – they could, they love to send you tons of paperwork that don't mean shit. And he's saying, no, I want the legit stuff. But then we find out that Strzok was good friends with this Judge Curiel. I mean – everybody is connected through some way, every way around, from Mueller down to the Australian guy that heard the story at the bar by Papadopoulos in the bar in England. 4 levels of hearsay, and that's why we open up investigations in the FBI.
The Australian guy got a promotion to do something. Yeah, well, there was connections he had connections to
the Clinton Foundation. He got Australian money, $2.5 million, I think.
That was it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. You're a smart guy. You keep a lot of facts in there.
I listen to Glenn daily.
Glenn's got a lot of information now. Wait a minute. Let's see. When you recuse, normally you recuse yourself, correct? Lawyers, judges, they will recuse themselves.
If you have integrity, yes.
And this guy didn't recuse himself. It was a forced recusal. Somebody above him recused him from that job. That is a key point. Why did he get recused and not recuse himself? I'm sitting there going, because somebody is up there, probably DOJ. Maybe Sessions is doing something, but I really think he's napping way too often. But let me wrap something together, what you said. For you those that haven't been watching Pillow Talk, Mueller was the bag man for the Clinton administration, or the Obama administration, taking uranium samples by air in a briefcase to Russia for the Russians to verify the quality of the uranium. This is Mueller. He's the bagman, just like a mafia bagman carrying money. Took the over there. Come back. Now, who was one of the DOJ's top guys making sure that the Uranium One investigation was done properly and that the sale of Uranium One was legit?
Would that be one Rod Rosenstein?
Exactly, Roddy Rosenstein.
It all
Okay,
fits.
who's the other guy that worked with him on that?
McCabe?
Oh, how about that? You still got Mueller, Rosenstein, McCabe, and who knows? But those are the three names that keep showing up
Right.
down the line over the last 10 years.
Wasn't Comey the assistant FBI director at that time, or deputy director?
No, Comey was working. Comey was working over McCabe. McCabe wasn't the lead. Comey was the lead in the Uranium One investigation. Also, remember that things that the media's not talking about. Hell, nobody's talking about that. There was in 2000, Uranium One went down 2011. In 2010, for 16 months or more, the FBI, CIA had been doing a investigation on Russian conspiracy into purchasing of Uranium One. Let that sink in. 16-month investigation into the purchase of Uranium One up to 2010. Shut down by, who shut that down? Mueller shut that damn thing down. Oh my God. And shut down the investigation and allowed Uranium One to be sold. Now, you see the fingerprints and the corruption fingerprints all over this. It is just, and if you had a special counsel, now, if we can figure, Panda, Glenn, Adam, Brian, if we can figure this out and you can look at that and go, something really smells here, or something's really corrupt here, how come a special counsel can't go bam, 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 and come to the bottom of this? Now, we'll roll back a minute. What we didn't get out there is that there was a CIA, FBI special informant or undercover informant that was there on every deal that was made and was providing detailed information to the FBI and the Justice Department on what was going on.
Yeah, you don't hear about him in the mainstream media at all.
He's still there. He's still putting information out.
Yeah, he's gone to like 5 committees and given testimony on the Uranium One scandal already.
Right. And our elected officials have not done a thing to advance the investigation. They're all on the effing take.
Right. I mean, you go to the very first, when it came out that Michael Flynn had a conversation with Kislyak and he lied to Mike Pence, and that whole thing came out, right off the bat, people like Devin Nunes and others were saying, hey, that's a felony. That is a leak between the national security advisor and someone in a foreign government that made it to the mainstream media. That is a huge leak. We bitched about that for months, and then Sessions came out. I remember his press conference. We will not allow leaks. We here at the Department of Justice hold ourselves in the highest integrity, blah, blah, blah. We are opening up an investigation. How long does it take to investigate a freaking leak? We're not talking Russian collusion. We're talking a leak. And not one word has come out about these leaks.
Well, let me just drill in a little bit deeper. The details they had on Trump's, Flynn's discussion, and then Trump's discussion with the Mexican president, and Trump's discussion with the Australian president. Yep. Where do you think they got those detailed transcripts?
Yeah. It's from that warrant. That's right.
The fucking warrants. That's where they got them. They had detailed information. How'd they know Flynn was freaking lying? They had the transcript.
Right.
This is what we're saying. These guys are guiltier than hell, and there's only one way to do it, to get a good, legitimate former judge out of the Midwest somewhere where he's, not really involved with it, retired, and he's sits down, pulls information, and make that individual the special counsel. The thing is, I can't figure out how to line out the indictment requirements based on the special counsel law because there's so many. I mean, FISA, Clinton's security breaches, Clinton Foundation, pay for play, and Uranium One. I mean, you're just going to give them all, those are sayings. You've got to, there's got to be specific laws that were violated that you want them to go after. But if, what's that guy, Jared on the lawyer on Fox, he's always pinpointing the law
Greg
and the
Jared,
code.
yeah.
Yeah, Michael.
Greg Jared.
That's what's got to be written into that to get anything done. I mean, to be legitimate. I want them to do it right. But if you get all these things, investigate collusion with Trump, Clinton Foundation, pay for play. Look for conspiracy in Uranium One. I mean, they could used to be assholes. They could do that, which I think would probably be I'm very vindictive. Not as bad as Glenn, but I am. Probably be a way of sticking it back to him, going, okay, let's just talk about collusion. So anything that dealt with that thing, which may be a coverall, but if we go back and say that the special counsel order was incomplete or incompetent or not effective or whatever adjective you want to use, that it's not valid.
Right.
If we do that to disvalidate Mueller, which the president should do, and say, based on laws and recommendations, I think this is a totally invalid order given by the deputy attorney general. That's why he's the deputy, because he's untrustworthy, then fire his ass and say, okay, this is your new. In 90 days, I want an answer on conspiracy to violate American election laws. Between the Trump campaigns and Russians, and pinpoint it, stick it on him, and say, go to work, got 90 days to come up. You had 14 months, another 90 days, and let's have a completed report. That's it. That's all he's got to do. I'm not going to kick you out. You throw everything out here.
Yeah, you give him 90 days to wrap it all up. I see what you're saying. But my question is here, because we pretty much established the fact that this entire investigation is predicated on a scam. A sham. Yeah. It's not legal. Correct. So then it comes to I think the political or the lawful term is everything from here on out is fruit of the poisonous tree.
Exactly.
So if basic people in law know these things, then Robert Mueller knows these things, and that's why I go back to he's trying to get fired. But if he doesn't, he's going to try and say there's either conspiracy or obstruction or whatnot to try and get impeachment processes. But at the end of the day, isn't all this for moot? Are they going to rely on a judge that's an activist judge to overlook the fruit of the poisonous tree? It seems like everything is invalid from that point.
You missed one point.
Okay. That's why I got you on.
The point being is that our representatives, the Congress and the Senate, McConnell and Ryan, are not screaming bloody effing murder about the horseshit that's gone on for 14 days. Why? Because the people that are funding them, K Street, and all the other people that lobbyists donate money to them, it's in their financial best interest to keep this going because they want to take Trump down. They are non-Trumpers, and Ryan has shown it, and so is McConnell. Mm-hmm. That, we need to get these two jackasses out of there. That's why you haven't seen anything going on. And people, you got all these people saying, we need a special counsel. You haven't heard McConnell or Ryan come out, and there's just a ton of information. And unfortunately, the Constitution does not allow for the recall or recount of a senator or representative. You got to deal with us, and McConnell's going to be with us for another 4 years, 5 years, 4 years, 4.5 years. So that sucks. Ryan's getting out of town because he knows his goose is cooked second second half, and so they're not doing anything really to. These assholes are hoping for a blue wave, and it's just
Well, they showed it at when President Trump won, and they'd been the minority party for 8 years, and then it's like, okay, guys, now we're the majority party, now we lead, and they had nothing. They didn't even have a good Obamacare replacement. They tried to go with Ryan's A Better Way, which was just Obamacare light. I mean, they proved from the beginning they didn't even know how to lead. I'm still trying to figure out because
you've never been a fucking leader. You've been a mush mouth and never been forced into a leadership position where you had to make decisions, which a lot of these politicians aren't. They're good bullshitters. They know people. They know how to smooch, but they've never been in leadership positions. Hell, I don't think anybody should be allowed to go, be elected to Congress or the Senate without being in the military for a minimum of at least 5 years to get a good taste of what leadership is.
Right.
Either you saw it or you developed some type of leadership. I mean, hell, just the ability to look at somebody and go, God, look how he's handling that. Or my lieutenant did this, and something instills leadership into the corpus. A leader, a true leader, and you can see it in Trump, it radiates through everybody in the unit, and it hasn't got to the bottom yet. But I mean, he hasn't asked for whistleblowers, but he could. The attitude of the commander sets the attitude for the entire command.
Yeah,
and you've worked. I mean,
you can see that in some.
The commander sucked, but the small unit guys changed that, absorbed the pain themselves, and put out a different attitude toward the Marines in the lower echelon, and it could carry down. And basically, they were covering for a very weak battalion commander. But that's, and we didn't. I don't want to say we didn't have a lot. I mean, thank God we didn't have a lot of weak commanders when I was in the Marine Corps. Everybody, you may not have liked their style, but they led. And if you didn't like it, they'd pound your little square block in that round hole.
Right.
Which is okay. That works.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you can see it, and I really hoped McConnell would see that, especially after 6-8 months, that President Trump wasn't Hitler. President Trump wasn't everything that they said he was. I thought he would say, wait a minute, this guy's finally going to show us how to win. I really thought that. And you can see in some of the other people, Devin Nunes is a great example. He has looked at his commander-in-chief, and he has emulated that. And he has gone balls to the walls against the deep state and against, this corruption that's been going on. I wish we could see it more in McConnell and Ryan. I mean, they literally came out. They passed the tax bill, a couple days before Christmas? A couple days. That was the only thing that I know of that they accomplished all year. This is the first year from beginning to end I paid attention to everything Congress did. They didn't do shit. And they're talking about what a great freaking year they had. They did nothing. They worked.
Trump had a good year.
Trump had a great year. And if not Trump pushing that tax cut through, what would they had? I think you're absolutely right. They want to be the minority party. It's easier, but the cash, the money from the lobbyist is the same. It's just the same.
It could be. I've never been approached by a lobbyist.
Well, they seemed pretty comfortable during Obama's 8 years.
Well, they did, and they really supported Obama, and they supported Obama more than they did Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, which is scary. And that's why the rats are leaving this sinking ship. I mean, there's a special place in hell for assholes like them, pardon my French, folks.
Right.
People that betray their country, and they're portraying their country for a financial gain. That's all it is. And I think we need to start pushing that one. And anybody that's running against an incumbent that they think is corrupt should be they're selling out the country for financial gain. And any fucking Democrat, they definitely are selling the country out for financial gain. These guys are...
They're trying to destroy our country for financial gain. There's no doubt. You cannot.
Lamb seems to be more a Republican than a Democrat, and I guess it was the only way for. Well, the 18th district in Pennsylvania is 50,000 more Democrats than Republicans, and he ran as a pro-life, pro-gun Democrat.
Yeah.
It was something like a blue dog Democrat from 20 years ago down in the South. But the thing is, he's going to go in the Democratic caucus and he's going to get flipped that, hey, you do it or you're not going to get any money for reelection. And he dumped a lot of money into his election.
Right.
So his only choice to save his soul, he can sell his soul like John Glenn did, but God bless him, sold his soul, but the John Glenn thing always gets me upset. He's going to have to convert to a Republican. That's to be true to himself and to what he should have learned as a Marine Corps officer. He has to be true to the fundamentals and what makes America great, and it's not the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how a Marine is a Democrat.
There's another one that we got one out of Virginia that's like that. Like John Glenn was an old school blue dog Democrat, which is okay, but he sold his soul to get back into space one last time. It's just, but that's neither here nor there. He was a good man. He was a good Marine, and he pushed the envelope. But we all do things that, in hindsight, are wrong. So,
right. Well, it's an amazing thing for me that
give me some bourbon. That'd be great.
It's an amazing thing to watch a district that I didn't know that PA 18 was 50,000 more Democrats than Republicans, and Trump won that by 20 points. Okay, so this is my dilemma that I've had, and I tried to get this question out last night on SNL and put it towards Adam because I watched President Trump, who just recently did a fundraiser with Josh Hawley. And it's another never Trumper that is being pretty much, I don't know if he's giving him an endorsement, but I guess he is, and being endorsed by President Trump. And it just, how are we going to get MAGA people in here to help our president if he himself is through, I don't know if it's a deal with McConnell or what, but it seems like he's being forced to endorse people that are never Trumpers.
He's not being endorsed. He's not getting the information. He's not getting the information. You have a choice between an old school guy and a new school guy. What are their position? How has this guy helped you? What is this guy saying? He's not getting the information. That's the only thing it can be for him to go out and endorse somebody that is not supporting him.
Right. Oh yeah, and you got a patriot, a real patriot running in that race, in that primary, Tony Minetti. I met him in California.
Tony's a great guy.
Exactly. He was a bomber fighter pilot. I mean,
he was a B-2 bomber. He was a B-2 bomber during the first Gulf War flying missions. 36-hour missions. We had a long talk about how do you pee when you do that, but the sun's
you get creative.
Tony's a great guy, and why he would support the incumbent on that or the other guy, which is and that is coming from the RNC and McConnell, because the Senate does a lot of the delegating of money and stuff. That's a McConnell issue, and remember, McConnell went against Judge Roy Moore in that election. McConnell is strictly a never Trumper and is not for the best interests of the country. Why Trump hasn't figured that out, I do not know. It's the people around him have failed to tell him that. So I guess we need to get somebody to start saying through Brian or Adam to say, hey, look at Tony Minetti. This guy's the other guy's a bum.
Right. And I think you're right. He gets, my God, I can't even imagine what our president's schedule is even close to being like. But if he knew that a B-2 bomber pilot that served over 20 years is ready to come back and serve this country again, and he is 100% MAGA, you would think that he would be like, wow, we need to look at this guy here and get him in. I could see when Priebus was the chief of staff, him not getting information. We knew they kept news articles away from him. We knew they tried to feed him just what they wanted him to hear. I don't get it in this day and age,
This is a Kelly issue. You just brought that up. This is a Kelly issue. Kelly has his list of priorities. This stuff is not in Kelly's top list.
Fair enough.
I mean, going back, he's now chief of staff, which is staff secretary, but just at a higher level. And this is not the burning issues that you're trying to get in front of the boss to get a decision. And if he doesn't make it, that's an approach. Somebody got to start moving toward Kelly and say, hey, you need to start looking at this. This is not burning issue now, but it will burn your ass in about 6 months. So I think that's the issue right there. I'm new to the political game. I'm sort of trying, how do I get...
I am too. And that's why I put these questions out, because I'll get a burning question, and I know if I want to get a legit answer, I need to go to people who know. And Adam's one of the ones that has inner workings. And I know that Adam identified Hawley to us, that Josh Hawley, like right away after the election when he was announcing his run and Tony Manetti was announcing his run for that district in Missouri. He said, this guy is an ever-Trumper. And immediately, it wasn't too long after that, we heard Trump mention his name, that we need people like Hawley. And I'm pretty sure he's getting talking points from Mitch McConnell and perhaps Paul Ryan. And they're not going to put anybody but establishment, easily flexible, easily molded people. Manipulated is a better word. I was being nice. But you're right. That's what they're being. They're being manipulated. And it's disgusting because we need the MAGA. We need MAGA people in there that realize that this country is under attack from so many levels.
Does anybody know what Kelly's number is in the White House? Well, wait a minute. Matt, we can get to Mattis. We might be able to get to Mattis. It may work. I'm sorry, my brain's spinning right now trying to figure out how do you get the information in. Hey, don't trust McConnell. Look at, but I don't know. McConnell's putting up from the GOP or from the establishment people that he wants Trump to support, and Trump is supporting him. He's not looking at all the candidates.
Right.
And they're going, I don't know how to get the information to the boss that he's being scammed by the people he's trusting. Now, again, Kelly, this is not on his radar. He is not a political animal. He's not looking at how to try to get. He's looking at what is the burning issues for the president. And there's a lot of things that we don't know about. Of course, I'm falling back on knowing all the stuff you got to get to the boss to get a decision. And you're usually the driving force, not the chief of staff. Chief of staff kind of backs it up to the staff secretary to get most of that stuff done. But chief, yeah.
Well, Adam's in the room, and Adam said that first off, he said you were spot on. So I guess the point that Trump is just not getting the information is spot on. But then I seen something even better when he says we are on it. So that in itself,
I'll volunteer to do whatever's necessary.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, because these are the things that really bother me when I try and think of how we're going to do things. Yes, the president does need Republicans, but he doesn't just need Republicans. He doesn't need your standard status quo Republicans. I mean, do we need another Jeff Flake or John McCain, Ben Sass? They call themselves Republicans, but we know they're not. And, I'm afraid that
what the hell they are.
Yeah, and Lamb, I'm pretty sure he'll become the same type of he'll be a Democrat. Well, he ran as a Democrat, so at least he isn't lying to people and saying, hey, I'm a Republican, but they're secretly Democrats.
But his training and the things he committed to are not in line with the Democratic Party. So, I mean, if you do some work on him, he'll flip to a Republican.
Yeah.
Adam, talk to whoever you can. I think you get him in there and flip him.
Oh, Adam just said Google Holly and Access Hollywood. So we're not going to do that, but other people that are watching right now
Go
probably
forward.
are. Yeah, that's probably some good information. Access Hollywood, the only thing I remember with Access Hollywood, isn't that the Billy Bush tapes? Wasn't that Access Hollywood?
Yeah.
And I know that the rumors were that came from someone that was a Paul Ryan type guy, so that's a possibility right there. There
Oh,
is a
sorry.
possibility.
I was talking about Billy Carter beer.
Billy Carter
That goes
beer.
way back.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
that went right over me.
No,
No
no.
doubt.
You know Jimmy Carter? No, you may not know. You don't even know. You know the name, but he had a brother named Billy Carter.
Billy Carter.
Beer. They put a beer out. I guess it's made from peanuts, but who the hell knows? It was really bad beer.
Peanut
Bush
beer. That sounds pretty bad.
Okay, what's the next thing on your list?
Well, I was seeing, going along, the same kind of train, the House Intel Committee this week shut down the Russia probe, citing no evidence of collusion. Now, they also said they didn't see any collusion between the Clinton campaign and Russia, and that is perplexing for me. But maybe they're attacking that from a different
I didn't
angle.
see that in the memo.
What's that?
Is that in the memo?
Yes, they said that they came to the conclusion that there was no collusion between either campaign.
Was that the Democratic memo or the Republican?
No.
Obviously, it's Nunes, so it's a Republican, but I'd have to, based on the information we have, that had to be a bone to the Democrats for some reason. And that was a 4-page memo, and the Democrats put it a 10-page memo, heavily redacted.
Right. Well, what they put out here was just a statement, the final conclusion of the that part of their investigation. Now, they're still investigating the State Department and the FISA abuses, but as far as collusion with Russia, they put a stamp on it, tied a bow on that.
Okay. Help me out here. The DSI, Admiral Rogers, did and had his people do an investigation into FISA submissions from June through October of 2016. And he found out that most were fraudulent things, and he shut it down.
Right.
What the hell are they investigating? Just take his friggin' report. Pardon my French. My dad's line was, don't piss on my leg and try to make me believe it's raining.
That's right.
Not.
That's right.
My dad was a hardcore guy.
Right. But yeah, Devin Nunes has got them all shook up. He's got them all shook up. And they're hating this, but
remember, for 5 months, Nunes was under investigation from the Ethics Committee of the House Ethics Committee for him going into the skiff at the White House,
right,
reviewing the daily reports to the president, daily intel reports to President Obama, and finding out all this dirt information that Obama was passing out to everybody. A lot of the unmasking was right there in the daily briefings.
Right.
And then they put him under investigation. Schiff put him under investigation for 5 months before he couldn't come back to start doing the full investigation. There's a lot of smelly stuff around this guy. Not Nunes, but Schiff.
Oh, he smells like Schiff. There's no doubt.
I'll go off on tangents, as you know, but I'll try not to.
But that's all good. Well, what do you think that means? You got a major intelligence committee that's wrapping it up. You have them when they put out that 4-page memo and they got it declassified, that allowed Grassley and Lindsey Graham's memo about filing charges against Christopher Steele. That allowed that to come out, but it also corroborated this whole there is no Russian collusion at all, and we've got problems in the FISA programs.
Yeah. So
does
the Democratic memo even supported Nunes's memo? There's
right, there. Right. You're right.
And then Shifty comes out this morning and says, "Oh, there's all kind of crimes and this that they're going." Shifty is a lying SOB, and that's just it. He's Liberalism creates a mental disorder, and he's a perfect example of it. He is un-American. His intentions are not for the welfare of the country, only the party. And I keep going back to this. The only group that goes that way are the fucking communists. The advancement of the Communist Party precedes everything else, laws, family, everything. Anything done in the advancement of the party is right and good. Sorry, I'm an old school
Well,
communist warrior.
we need
That's why
old,
I'm
we need
agreeing
more
with
old
John.
school communist warriors telling these new school youngins that communism is real and that it's not this fantasy that they think it is, this socialist utopia where everybody, what is it, according to your, I forget the saying, but basically saying that you work hard and you give to the people who can't do it. Well, what does that do? People stop having the incentive to work hard. It never works. It's never worked in any society ever. And it seems like we're going through this every 20, 30 years. And it's crazy. And if it wasn't for people like you, Colonel Pillow, telling people, hey, I've been fighting this war since 1976 or 75. I hated commies back then and had an understanding back then.
We do.
There's people today who don't even know what communism is, really. They just don't have a clue.
Let's put it this way. I had a captain look me in the eye and said, okay, your job as a lieutenant during emergency operations in Germany, when they fly you in, your job is to find 2 staff NCOs, load yourself up with anti-tank missiles, rockets, whatever, and go out and hide and stop Russian tanks. And I'm going, me and 2 staff NCOs. They didn't trust the enlisted guys. I mean, the junior enlisted. You're going to have an officer or 2 guys. And I said, and he says, you hold. And that means you fight till you die. And this in the full the gap. And you're looking at this guy, said, are you serious? And he was serious as a heart attack. And that would be our responsibility. I'm going, aren't you wasting? I mean, we got a lot more abilities. No, you have the capability to take 3 men have the capability of taking out more tanks than an entire platoon because you're small, moving around. You can't contact them. You're going, yeah, buddy. It's, but it's, hey, that was it back in the 60s and 70s. Fight or die. And it was just, I mean, in this communism. And what did Khrushchev say? And you go back and look it up Google it now. Don't have to go to the encyclopedia and look it up. Google it. Khrushchev, he said, we will defeat the United States from within. And these SOBs, like the Islamic guys, will wait 100 years, but they have infected the educational system of this country. They have flipped the Democratic Party to a communist party, an un-American communist party. Listen to the crap these guys say. They are doing what they said they would do. It's just taking them a little bit longer. And now since we have Trump, it's going to take them a hell of a lot longer. And hopefully we get some conspiracy and some other laws reinstated from the 40s that may help us put some of these guys away from inciting insurrections, or they're fucking traitors, period. They're totally against the American way of life. And they want to put... I'm sorry, I'm getting really...
You're good. This is gold. This is Periscope gold, Colonel.
I'm just sitting there going, this is...
You can tell it hits you. This is something this is a battle you fought for a long time.
That's why I was willing to jump out of a plane to get to the fight first.
Exactly.
That was as a kid, but
I completely understand why they take history out of the schools, why they try and change and manipulate history, because the human condition, we seem to do things in cycles. And if you don't forget about the mistakes made, then you won't go back there. But it seems like we're rolling right back into it it's like watching the kids in the streets, or the Antifa in the streets reminds me of riots, decades ago for the same reasons, or the guys during Vietnam that had to deal with those kind of protesters calling them baby killers and everything. Those were the communists that were saying that. Those are the people in the that wanted the socialist utopia.
Never killed more than our quota, and we never ate. We always ate what we killed.
That was awesome.
That's the reply you give to the crazy lunatics. It just, we never killed more than our quota, and we always ate
straight from the mouth of a Marine.
And they just look at you going, and then they'll realize you're a barbarian. Yes, and the next question is what? You know, it's no. It's we always know that it was the communists that were supporting the communists and the Russians and the Chinese that were supporting a lot of the anti-war movements to beat the U.S. with political or the political attitude, to reduce the political will of the American people to deal with the fight, not allowing our politicians or our generals to take the fight to the enemy. We lost the fight at home. Any SOB out there that says, oh, no. If you protested the war, you're part of beating the country. You allowed them to get into our, now we call our noodle loop, but the politicians failed, well, they don't have much balls anyway, but failed to take the challenge or do what was necessary to win the war. We could have bombed Pai Hong and Hanoi, blown the bridges up across the Hanoi River, put Ranger Battalion, South Vietnamese Ranger Battalions and Marines in there in Hanoi and Haiphong, killed the crap out of them and into this effing war, that war, quickly and been done with it and unified it and been over. No, we can't go about the DMZ. Who the F ever thought that one up was a dumbass, but LBJ made a fortune off a Bell helicopter, and that guy was a dumbass.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to.
It's money. Money. It's friggin' money.
It's money. There's no doubt. Okay,
why did the thing in Iraq wait so long? Because there were restrictions placed on how we could hunt down and kill the enemy. That was it.
Right.
The job is to kill the enemy, hunt them down.
Right.
And kill
Obama
them.
changed the rules of engagement.
Oh, God.
I mean, give me a break.
Bush changed the rules of engagement. I mean,
see, I wouldn't wear that. I'm going to grab a drink. Get on that, stay on that point real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, we're talking about the war in Iraq. I don't think the military was prepared for what we got thrown into. The Marine Corps took a lead on developing a police force for a lot of the cities in the Marine Corps controlled areas. They developed a police force. Now, we had put together a plan at the higher headquarters for using reestablishment of the Iraqi military. But what we're going to use, we wanted to use the CIA, other people promised a lot of stuff to the Iraqi officer corps and a lot of staffing COs of what we would do to help them after the war. And we reneged on it. Instead of saying we give them $100 a month for the next 5 years to keep them out for the things they did, we would have them do stuff. We cut that off, gave them $5 a month, and you're going, what the crap? Now, myself and a couple of the provost marshal guys trying to figure out a way of trying to do this. I became an author of writing a lot of crap, and I'm not a typist. It's real entertaining. But what we're looking at was we put together a process of you have everybody in the Iraqi military has to go to a security point and enter there, and we could take your Iraqi ID card and we'll put you into the computer base. One, hey, we have an idea of who they are and where they are. Then you start using them. You give them money to go out and get a uniform. You tell them what type, and you have them start going out with patrols with a 2 or 3 man U.S., but it's their neighborhood. They know who the bad guys are. They know where they're at. Duh. Smart, right? Okay, let's go. I'll get to that point, the stupidity part later. We had it was 45, 50 pages of how to develop these guys. You train them, you put together the the squad leader or the fire team leader that's taking them out, he looks at them, he evaluates, gives an evaluation, and you start picking up guys you want to send back to the Iraqi army. These are good people. You send them back. You start moving it on order. You send these guys forward to develop a company. Then you send another, you second company. Then you have a battalion. You start looking at these guys, and you start vetting the dirt bags. We don't want them here, but they got to come out once a week. If not, you put them on report, and everybody's looking for them. That was part of the process. We wrote all this stuff up, had it detailed out. Damn thing going to work. Well, guess what they did to me? They sent me to Baghdad. When I got back, I was told by a major, says, we gave all this money to the effing contractor on how to vetting of everybody, all the stuff, process, take a lieutenant, make him a company commander, take the company commander, make him a battalion commander, and try to move the political guard or Saddam loyalists at the top, force them out. All this stuff was all lined out. It took several weeks to put this together and a lot of rewinds.
That was the Revolutionary Guard?
No, anybody.
Gotcha.
Anybody, get all the higher ranks out, get the Iraqi people, the Iraqi officers that were for Iraq to understand what they were doing and work with them and develop and move the lieutenant. Of course, these lieutenants are going to be out moving around with your security detail through these areas right after the war, right? And you'll see the lieutenant telling guys what to do, and you can check them out, see how good they are, and you move them up into the reestablishment of the Iraqi army. Oh no, all that's information from the major who worked for me was given to the contractors and was never seen again.
Wow.
The fucking contractors fucked the country to get the money, and they,
it seems like a trend.
I would take the guy and give him with a PhD and teach him how to be a regimental commander. Horseshit.
Wow.
90-day wonder was making a guy a first lieutenant to lead a platoon. We got a 90-day regimental commander. You don't have his head for me. I mean, fuck, if he was smart, he wouldn't. It was just, we got back and I'm looking at it and go, this is horseshit. But the contractor got the information, and for whatever reason, I couldn't find any leftover files anywhere. Oh, hell, we were in Baghdad trying to find files from the operational planning group. That shit disappeared. We tried to figure that shit out. I don't know. That was one thing that was screwed up. The redevelopment of the Iraqi army was, in my opinion, was co-opted by the use of some. I'm a lieutenant colonel. I got a retired colonel army guy telling these guys, and I'm sitting there in a meeting going, this is horseshit. I mean, well, who are you? And I told him who it was, and I said, there's a plan there. What the hell why are you giving this shit out? Where'd you come up with this? You're not in country figuring this out. You haven't been talking to the people on the ground. I mean, you're just sorry. I did it again.
Don't be sorry. You're speaking truth, and that's what we weren't there on the ground, but it seemed like there was so much ineptitude going on. And then the facts were proven.
Not in my department.
Right. Well, more or less what I'm saying is the way that the rebuilding and basically the rebuilding of the army. Because when ISIS moved in, the Iraqi army didn't put up much of a fight.
There wasn't much there. The militia had more control. From what this is from people there. They're going that there wasn't a whole lot. There was more. The militia had more control. The police and the army had loyalty to the militia and not to the National Army, because the militia is religious based, and that's a hard thing to get out of. Now, Uncle Joe Biden, the old crazy Uncle Joe,
crazy perverted Uncle Joe.
I'll tell you one thing that man said that made a lot of sense, and a lot of people now will say, yeah, maybe it wasn't that damn crazy. That would have solved the problems we had. He said, look, we don't know the areas, and we can't control the areas. and he says the only people that control the Arabs are Arabs. You agree? We all agree. Is there anybody not agreeing with that statement? And they're right. They're all fucking nuts. That's another story. Anyway. But the issue being is that his idea or what he proposed was that we divide up Iran with all the neighboring countries that they've been fighting with for years. Syria gets a chunk. Turkey gets everything according to the 1918 Treaty of Versailles. Go figure that one out. 1918 Treaty of Versailles, which they should have gotten. Iran gets the highlands and all that area down there. Kuwait gets an area more than what they tried to take last time. And Baghdad becomes Basra to Baghdad, and enough area there to keep themselves alive. But the rest of the stuff belongs to the other Arab nations. And if people get out of line, the other Arab nations kill them. That's it. Bottom line.
Right.
And it's all based on tribal landmarks, tribal areas, and not British geographical lining. That was a World War I thing that was completely fucked, and it looked at what was going on. It's all tribal, and I can go into another aspect of the tribal problem, but they line it up. If they'd done it by tribal boundaries and not by perceived national boundaries, we would have less problems. Now, how did Saddam control the population, the Iranian population? He killed them off. It was like the friggin' Sopranos. Hey, you're out of your territory. I'm going to kill off 2,500 people of your guys, and I'm going to give this to this group. That's what he did. And the mass graving, he did that, and he kept them he kept the tribes under control. And I could go into a lot more of that, but I mean, sorry guys.
So when he was gone, then that left the vacuum.
Oh, but I got that information sitting, waiting to, there was a brigade commander writing crazily because he didn't want to mess the plane out either. We're sitting there, we're asking what the hell's going on. We talked to him on the plane out. He's telling us all this shit that he found out, and this is when I'm getting the hell out of there after a year. And I said, I hope Sanchez pays attention to what you wrote. And it was, and we picked his brain. Well, after we got settled,
right? Me
and Kelly had a good time on the way out. We were sitting in jump seats and yelling and screaming about getting the hell out of Baghdad, and a C-130 went straight up in the air. We're going, we didn't know it could climb that high and that fast, but it's a whole nother funny story about contracts with DHL. Okay. Do Pillow Talk later and get Glenn to get me started on a DHL contract.
Right. There you go.
You're going, what the hell is he talking about?
Oh, I've been loving this. I got to tell you. We haven't talked a ton about all the things that we planned on, but that's like one of those things for me that I like a conversation.
I'm sorry, folks. Are the people still interested in trying to wrap things up? And we'll try to go through them real quick. Are you guys still?
I've still got a lot of diehard MAGA people in here that's enjoying the hell out of Colonel Pillow. Says you've been on fire tonight, and they've been enjoying the hell out of it. One thing I don't want to skip though was something that we're talking about, a recent event that had came out. I believe earlier in the week, or was it late last week, when they said that McMaster's was gone and Bolton was in. Let's not forget that one. Okay, all right. Here we go. Let's roll it up. Okay, musical cabinets. Oh no, we're firing. Who do we fire? Tillerson and. It's been a whole weekend. I forgot his name. Tillerson got canned. Why? Tillerson has been fighting Trump across the board and talking behind his back. Yeah, he's doing that. As a CEO, he should know not to do that. He got fired. Pompeo moved from CIA into that job. Yep. I think that's he's got a good understanding of the background of what countries are shits and what's going on. Then he put in, oh God, I got her name, Gina Haspel. Haspel. Yep.
hard-ass individual, which I will support greatly because she did not back down from the advanced interrogation techniques, and her techniques and her supervision got us bin Laden, not effing Obama. She did. So she knows her job. She's well trained, and anybody, and Ryan Paul, I'm sorry, Paul, this one you're kind of out in left field, correction, right field, which he normally is farther. But this one's wrong.
Rand Paul?
Rand Paul,
Yeah,
Ron Paul, whatever.
right.
Wait, sorry, I didn't know his dad. His dad was, I'm going to veer off here. His dad was great. You listen to him speech, he's talking, and you're going, yeah, I love this. Then he talks about the aliens that come down and pick him up and take him to the moon and stuff. And what in the hell? And you're going, okay,
I missed that one.
And I think that runs through the family because Ryan Paul is very squared away a lot of stuff. Then all of a sudden he comes out and goes, whoop, he's not talking. They've convinced him not to talk about aliens picking up and taking him out of space like his dad does, but he gets off on a tangent. I like him, but he's got to have somebody to get him back.
I don't understand his stance on this. That because she was involved in advanced, interrogation techniques, because she had black sites. I'm still not figuring this out. For one, an enemy combatant does not have the same rights as an American. That's just the way it is. A terrorist does not have the same rights as an American.
Let me help you out there. You have to be an enemy combatant when you're captured in an enemy uniform. These SOBs can easily be identified as saboteur or assassins or spies. Summary execution under UCMJ is authorized. Okay? Wow. We've been really effing polite to these SOBs.
Right. Well, that's the way I feel about a lot of our officials. They're more worried about how a terrorist is being interrogated than how Americans are being treated in their own country, or how the Americans can't go outside in certain parts of our country because of the dangers involved with illegal immigration and everything else. Yet they're worrying about what a terrorist, how he gets tortured.
Let me help you out there.
Help me.
Ranger School did one hell of a job on interrogation. My class was the last one to get the interrogation process.
Did you get waterboarded?
This is before waterboarding. They just beat the shit out. They just beat the shit out. I mean, but it's just wait. And then I had to go through Marine Corps Aviation SEER School. Not pleasant. And I had just lost the track of what I was talking about because. But
Before
anyway,
it was pre-waterboarding, your last interrogation.
But the thing is, though, now to go through Special Forces training and SEER training, our individual pilots and its special operations people are waterboarded in training.
That's true.
It ain't pleasant. It's not pleasant, but it's a training to know what's going to happen. Why? Because it's not going to kill you, and it's get your mind ready for what's coming. I'm glad that part wasn't available when I was going through school. But just for grins, they didn't break a rib. The guys were pretty good about it. They didn't break any ribs. They didn't fuck my shoulder up. That's another story. But they do all this stuff to get you to say something, and you won't. And Rangers go, your heart. I mean, you could give a crap. So then you walk out and get this one. They have the Red Cross guys there. They got little cookies, a little thing of orange juice, and they say, hey, just, we want to make sure your family knows. You've been there for 10 weeks, and you're somewhat fucked up anyway.
Right.
And you write down all the information that the guys were beating the hell out of you to get. You write it down on a piece of paper and give it to the Red Cross guy. And you go, hey, they told us that afterwards that everything you denied wouldn't tell us underneath physical pain and torture, you gave up for a cookie and a glass of orange juice.
Wow.
And that got this thing to start thinking about what the hell's going on.
Right.
Of course, I'm mentally deranged anyway, but that's okay. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, we're talking about waterboarding. I believe Gina Husband would be a highly qualified individual. And if you can get to, and I'm going to call him mine tomorrow, your congressman to say, push to have her appointed just for the pure experience and strong backbone to take care of America. That's what we lack. We don't have people that understand that we got to take care of America. They don't understand what type of trouble we're in. I mean, Trump understands it. He sees it. My God, he sees it far better than I do. His vision sinks further into what we need as a country to survive an attack from two coasts again, like we did in World War II. Now, I'm going to veer off here. I have an uncle that is on death's bed. He's going to die here in a couple of days. He should have died a couple of days ago, but talking to his son, my cousin, said he's a stubborn Marine and he's not going to give up. So he's 93 years old. He did 3 amphibious landings. He was a veteran of Guadalcanal, Bougainville, and just put him in your prayers. His name is Staff Sergeant Paul Smith. Sorry?
Staff Sergeant Paul Smith. There's no reason to apologize. That sounds like, it sounds to me like, for one, that was one of the guys that motivated you into becoming the kind of person you are. Am I correct in that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I had a feeling, because my uncle was a Marine, my dad, I got a lot of military, and they were my force. So I really appreciate you bringing that out, because I guarantee everyone in this room right now is saying a prayer for Staff Sergeant Paul Smith, you said?
Yeah.
Paul Smith.
It's my mother's brother. I mean,
93-year-old badass Marine.
Not giving up. They gave him 3 days. We're talking about 10 now.
Well,
the 2 brothers were Marines. My dad was in the Army at 15. They sent him to Germany instead of to the Pacific. But hey, it was. What I don't want to happen is that our children have to do what our parents had to do. That to be caught flat-footed, unprepared for a major war where it kills off billions of effing people because we're unprepared. As Teddy Roosevelt and Jefferson and Washington said, to prepare for war is the best deterrent against war. Obama must not have read any of that stuff, nor the Democratic Party, excuse me.
No, not at all. It's obvious they hadn't, but I think that's more for more nefarious reasons. You
have to be prepared. Now, I'm sorry, folks. We got pages and pages of stuff, and Panda has kept me off course all night long. It's all his fault.
This guy right here. But I got to tell you, this has been one hell of a great show, and we've been enjoying it.
Okay.
And
let me throw something out. How many people heard about the $50 million, 50,000 profiles or data profiles that were stolen for Facebook? Anybody? The big thing.
I hadn't heard it.
You hadn't heard it, but the thing is,
you said it.
You may hear about it, but whatever. It's excuse me. I talk about my family.
I'm the same way.
My family was, God, forgive me. Oh, they were all good. Very strong individuals from that generation. The amazing generation of people that saved this country and saved our way of life. And
That's right.
And the things they did, they laugh about it, but it's just, and you're sitting there just looking at them going, what? I mean, as a Marine officer, they would, sorry, I got to say this. As a Army officer, they wouldn't talk to me. My dad rarely told me about stuff. I had to find out from other people. My uncles, absolutely not. Wouldn't talk to their sons either. When I became a Marine officer, all of a sudden the gates opened and they would talk about stuff. And you're going, oh, I'm sitting there just going, it just, landings and stuff. And my uncle made, one couple made a couple landings, got malaria, couldn't do stuff, and he got on the Quincy. Anybody know what the Quincy is? What's the Quincy?
USS Quincy?
It's a fast destroyer, and it's one that transported Roosevelt back and forth to Malta and some of the other things. Oh my God! You went, oh my goodness! The things that he could tell you about, and my aunt recorded it and made notes about what he learned about as a security guard on the ship. He had caught malaria, and they couldn't put him back in the Pacific, so they put him aboard ship. So he was in the Atlantic aboard ship of the ship going Marine, and the stories he could tell, or the thing about Truman, Roosevelt, the wife, Truman's wife, not Truman's wife, Roosevelt's wife, his daughter, and Churchill. You're going, oh, I mean, it was unrecorded history, which was good. Unfortunately, all the stories my aunt had, it kind of went away with her daughter and some of, but it was amazing. I mean, the other uncle did 3 amphibious landings, and he was going back the way he was going back. It shipped out of San Diego going to mainland Japan. He missed the fight in Okinawa, and so he's going back to mainland Japan for the landing. And he would fight anybody that said anything derogatory about Truman, because he says no Marine survives 4 landings. He says Truman stopped the 4th landing. And Steve did, my cousin's a retired Army colonel.
Right.
It's kind of the family, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. God bless your family. You know, that's the greatest generation. They call it that for a reason. Yeah, they call it that for a reason, because the greatest generation looked at odds that were so far gone. And, you know, they knew that everything, that our future, our ability to be able to sit here right now and talk was in jeopardy. And it's amazing what transpired. And, you know, I was thinking about that while you were talking. You know, the greatest generation, my grandfather turns 93 the day after I do in May. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, he's 43-year Navy Seabee. I've looked at a lot of his old pictures from when he was stationed in Antarctica, and he has pictures of the bombings when they were being bombed. I couldn't believe it. You were being bombed in Antarctica, Grandpa?
Absolutely.
He was like, oh, yeah, every day. And
the Japanese took Dutch Harbor. They took the Aleutian Islands. They were in America proper.
Right.
I mean, but they taken it. It's just people don't understand.
Right, but there's not a whole lot left of them. They're in their 90s, most of them nowadays, and it makes me wonder as if this is the time they decided that we're going to go ahead and push this liberal shithole agenda on America, because our greatest generation, a lot of them aren't here anymore. But that's why I have to thank you, because, you know, you lived it. You were inspired by the greatest generation. And this little show we do isn't just, you know, to get together and have people talk and chat and whatever. You're imparting knowledge that a lot of people don't know. I've done this twice with you. It's amazing the things I learned just talking to you. That's why I kind of goad you into going off on a tangent, because I get to learn new stuff. And not to mention, I really wanted to know who Colonel Jim Pillow is, and now I know. Adrenaline junkie, helicopter pilot, and a hell of a logistics officer that made it all the way to colonel. So, you know, I appreciate you in such a big way. I'm not wrapping the show, but I appreciate you in a big way. I guarantee you the people that are listening, the members of the fam, they appreciate the hell out of you, and we have to keep it going.
What do they want to hear about? I mean, I could. Oh God. I mean, so I apologize. When I talk about family, I get emotional. It's just like that. I could never be a public speaker. I just would talk. I could talk about a lot of stuff, but about my family, it's just
I'm the same way.
it's too hard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's
I
all
can
about.
count, but I'll cry. I'll cry like a baby.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
funny
my
because you'll
style.
go jump out of an airplane, you'll go fight halfway across the world or all the way across the world, and you'll jump in these things, but you still have your empathy and your grounding and realizing that family is what matters. Family is what it's all about. Who was you thinking about when you were out there fighting? Your family.
Okay, I was nervous because initially I was supposed to be in 1MEF headquarters and running Port and Starboard with a buddy of mine before I got shanghaied. And my only thing was, my prayer was a very simple prayer. Dear God, please don't let me embarrass the Marine Corps, my family, or myself. And then a calm came over me, a real calm.
Yeah.
I mean, after that, it was whatever stupid thing I wanted to do was available.
Wow.
I mean, I swear it was such a, after, the nerve, all the nerves and everything that, you're going, whatever, am I going to get killed? Am I going
Right.
to happen? And hell, I'm a lieutenant colonel. To get to me, everything's been a really bad day, but I don't know why. The nervousness and stuff, I said the prayer and everything calmed down. Even when I did go out and do some stupid stuff, I really didn't think I was going to die. I just kind of screwed my body up, but that's another story. Another
Right.
case of beer when we get together.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Speaking of get-togethers, there is a get-together in Miami, April 14th, April 15th, and then another one in Mission, Texas, in September
Mission,
15th.
Texas.
So, yeah, we got some meetups, and anybody here that's been listening to Colonel and they're like, man, I wish I could hear this one story, well then, buy the man a bourbon, and he'll fill your head with knowledge, just like he's done us.
I will be in Florida in April, but I will be in Panama City Beach in April. And I'm looking at, what is the dates on in Mission, Texas? Those guys are great.
September 15th.
And when they were at our San Antonio meeting, and
Yes.
they will enlighten you on the immigration problem.
Right. Jason and his dad, Sergio, are fantastic patriots.
You were at the table when they were talking about that. And you're sitting there going, explain that to me again. I had asked twice.
That was the first question when I got a chance to talk to him and really ask him something. I said, you guys live 5 miles from the border. I just got to know, from your perspective, do we need a wall? And both of them, Jason and Sergio, at the same time. Yes, we need a wall.
You left out the the adjective.
Yeah, the adjective.
The one that starts with an F.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The effing wall. You're right. We do need the effing wall. And I think that's what I said.
At the same table.
Right. Great patriots that are coming together. Every one of these events that we do, we get to really come together and gel and get to meet fantastic people. I mean, it was a joy to meet Mrs. Pillow. My goodness, what a great... I got to meet her in California, but then we had more fun in San Antonio. It was phenomenal, because behind every great man is an even better woman, and we both know that. And
it's the same.
Exactly, a very tolerant woman, no doubt. I live that daily, so I understand. I reached way for the stars with the gal I got, and I'm lucky that she puts up with all my bullshit.
Oh, God. I can't believe I put that one. Okay. Panda, I'm going to run through some of this stuff real quick because we're kind of getting late. The guys here, we're pushing midnight. Guys, East Coast or Eastern time are done.
It's all you.
Mueller witnesses, he had 2 witnesses. Both of them are really questionable. One of them has been arrested for pornography, and that would be a George Nader, and that's not going to do. Those are the people that are going to. What is Papalapis going to say? Nothing. What is Flynn going to say? Nothing. So what is Manafort going to say? Nothing. He's got nothing. Okay, moving right along. And one we forgot about that's very important. Fifth Court of Appeals, a federal court, Fifth Court of Appeals has approved or denied the lawsuit to cancel out the Texas immigration policy. So now this was the law, the Texas law that denied or said refused to allow sanctuary cities in Texas and impose legal requirements and jail time for people that went against the Texas law. And you're going, that's great. And we'll see what Texas does with that law that's been approved by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. That is a great win for Texas and for Trump.
Well, you got that sheriff there in Texas that was allowing the illegals to go and said that she would not do her job. So it'd be nice to see if we finally see a public official held accountable. Yeah, go to jail.
Yeah. Accountability. You start forcing accountability on people, and they'll do it. Oh, okay. Did it to me again on the McCain issue, or what's that guy's, the deputy that just got, dirtbag that just got fired?
Andrew McCabe.
Andrew McCabe. Oh, he lost his Social Security. He lost his retirement. Listen, in the military, if you make a bad judgment on a major decision, you're effing gone. Your retirement's gone. You're out of there. This is nothing new. This is just the facts of life. You know, when you go to work for the government or the military, if you F up real big, you're going, and he's lucky he's not going to jail. You're out of the Marine Corps. You're out of the government. This is just a standard thing. Nothing new. He screwed up. Hell, he should be held on subversion or treason. He's lucky they only fired him.
They said there is possible criminal charges could be filed depending on what comes out in these reports.
And Adam said, yeah, you're smoking dope. If not that, but just my he didn't say that, but my let thing is smoking dope. You think they're going to arrest him for anything, which he should be arrested. But I'm voting for you, Panda, that they do that. Okay, moving right along. Now, quickly, Trump's economic approach toward national security. How many have heard that? Trump's national approach to national security.
Right.
Tariffs. Rebuild the steel and aluminum capabilities in this country. Why? Can you build a tank or a Bradley fighting vehicle or an advanced amphibious vehicle without steel? Oh, by the way, can you build an aircraft carrier or a destroyer? We don't have a destroyer. Or free without steel? No, you can't. And we had 0 blast furnace in the United States a couple of months ago. The Republic Steel is fired back up. Blast furnace number 4, and depending on the orders, they're looking at putting number 5 back into service.
Yeah.
We cannot defend the country with paper effing mache.
Right.
Right. Fucking metal.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had one plant of aluminum that actually did military-grade aluminum. One in the country.
One. We need more.
Wow. How could anyone allow that to happen ever on any level?
Obama. He don't give it. Oh, excuse me, God, my nose.
He didn't.
Obama, I don't want to go into. Everybody knows what's out, but one thing, only good thing I say about Obama, he told us exactly what he was going to do, and most of the Republicans and the people in the United States were too stupid to understand what he said. He was speaking plain effing English.
Yeah.
He told us what he's going to do, and he damn near got to it. And the sequester thing to stop the budget, but he killed the military, was the only thing preventing him from trashing the entire country. In a matter of 8 years, he doubled the United States debt from what? We went from $11 trillion over $20 trillion.
Yeah.
I mean, and what do we have to show for it? Effing 0, nothing. It was all political justice, paying back, and the money it was pissed away.
Right.
There's terms for that I don't like to use, but it was just, it was, I mean,
It was done with a very low interest rate, too. So if they actually raised the interest rates on our debt to 5%, we would crash.
oh, hell yeah.
In the 70s, what was the interest rate? Like 19%? I seem to remember.
No, no, that was commercial credit. That was
Oh,
not
okay. I got you. Okay.
commercial
So I got it confused. But
I was a dumbass, and well, of course, in the '80s, I was young second lieutenant, and I bought a car at 19% interest. And my dad said, that's a good interest rate." I said, "You got to be kidding me!" But because I was finance major out of college, I go, "What?" He said, "No, because that's a good rate." So I signed it. Anyway,
wow.
well, I got a lot better deal. But anyway, there's another story. But I could.
National security. I mean, our economics is our national security.
Our economy is our national security.
I never heard that before Trump. Why is that? Was I not paying attention, or?
No, I mean, look, nobody's as smart as Trump is, or they're trying to hide it from us, that the U.S. economy is a national security. If you're strong, you're making money, you're creating stuff here, you've got people working. Yeah, how quick does it take to move people from a peacetime economy into a wartime economy? If they're all burning at 100% and you just change the level, boom, change it, they can got a little dip and off you go to wartime economy. And then that rolls out. We have more iron in this country than most places. Iron ore. And there's iron ore all over the place. It's just cheaper to pull it out of South America and ship it north. I mean, we have all kind of natural resources that we have secured due to raising labor rates that has allowed us to secure stuff. We've got stuff that the Obama administration put off limits by the EPA that we couldn't pull out, like the alkaline, some of the minor or precious, semi-precious minerals for industrial purposes. They blocked that stuff down. They killed a company called Molycorp that had bought into mining stuff like that. The Obama EPA put them out of business. It's just the Democrats are unfucking America. They're on the point of being effing traitors. I mean, personally, the way they do business, what they look at, okay, we're going to give immigrants more rights and support than we do our veterans. Next time we hear, they ought to have summary execution for idiots like that. Take them up, put a round in their head like they did in Germany after World War II. Are you a complete? I mean, the Darwin Awards? People that should not be allowed to reproduce.
Right.
That should be some of the stupid shit that these.
Yeah,
Okay,
it gets infuriating. I mean,
bourbon, and I'm starting to get a little.
Right. I understand, because it's infuriating to watch our veterans, our countrymen. I mean, every politician takes an oath to protect their country. Their country, that's us. But that's not what they're doing. And when you got the ridiculousness, something else that hit the newspaper 2 days ago was that the guy who killed Kate Steinle is suing the government right now. The illegal alien is suing our government because Trump gave him a bad name. That's the long and the short of it, that, he made it to where this guy can't even function. And I got to tell you, that made me want to go punch something. Like when you were 20 and you got upset and you went and punched things. That's what I wanted to do when I heard that. What did Kate Steinle's dad feel when he heard that?
Oh, I could imagine. That's why I think they ought to come back with a summary execution like they gave second lieutenants right after World War II.
Right.
I'm being highly facetious, but it would quit a lot of the crap. Now you start sending these guys back, hell, I think get all these illegal aliens, the criminal guys in jail, put them down there, have them do manual labor on building the damn wall. What's wrong with that? These people have human rights, no fucking American rights. They're not Americans. We cannot treat them unhumanely.
Right.
Now, if you look at what is considered unhumanely around the world, we treat these guys a hell of a lot better. So have them go work on the wall. Let me give the ACLU a lot of stuff down. They go pound sand because these people are technically invaders and could be dropped under the UCMJ and delivered to the military to do work until they meet a quota and send her back across the street. That would be one way to eliminate the ACLU get involved with this crap at all, because what did they do? They invaded the United States, their enemy combatants, and were giving them a break by not executing them as saboteurs or spies. Think about it, folks. We've done it during World War II, and what are these people? They've come in and destroyed the economy of the United States and put down the wage for the United States Americans, and there's a viable legal argument to have them considered as invaders of the United States. Think about it. I mean, I'm way out on the right-hand stream of this, but that could be done if they want to do that. Oh, and by the way, DACA. Oh, people are whining about DACA. There is no DACA. DACA's done. It died March 5th. If all these previous DACA people are illegal aliens. The Democratic Party, the DNC, just F all these DACA kids by not coming into some type of agreement with Trump. Trump said he tripled the number of people he said he would cover under DACA. And the pigs in the Democratic Party threw the DACA people under the bus. So I think they ought to hammer the hell out of the
called
DACA
their bluff. He called their bluff, and he took a lot of flack talking about amnesty and talking about a path to citizenship, and 3 times that number. I mean, how many supposed Trumpers went apeshit crazy when he announced that? But he called their bluff. They had no plan except for using this as political collateral throughout the entire 2018 year. So, I mean, how can anyone sit and say this is Trump's fault when they won't come to the table?
I'll be back.
All right. The Colonel shall be back. We will be wrapping up the show shortly, but I do appreciate everybody coming in. What a great time. I've got Colonel Pillow to be candid, a little emotional. I'm feeling like Barbara Walters over here right now. Come on the Smooch Panda show, you might shed a tear. And that just shows you exactly how real that man is and how lucky we are to sit and listen to this guy's point of view, because he's been there and fighting this fight since the 70s. And it's the same fight. And it would infuriate me to see the same enemies defeated in 1940 become the same enemies in 1960, 1970, became the same enemies now. It's the same thing. We're extremely lucky to have Colonel Pillow in this MAGA fam and his sweet, awesome wife. There's no doubt. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight and sharing this out. It's been a fantastic show. I have sure enjoyed it. Want to say a quick word to all the fam out there. Don't get stressed and worried. Don't feel like things are going and so far off in the wrong direction that we're not going to be able to pull it back or anything else. All this is another attack by the enemy. We get attacked a couple times since we've done this. President Trump gets attacked every single freaking day. So it's the least that I can do is to take some of the heat, take some of this battle. We got a bunch of sick fucks, basically, that have come together and decided that they have to shut us down. They have to shut down and deplatform us. So they're not going to. Right now, things are in the works. Other platforms, so if they take Periscope, we'll be on Gab. If they take Gab, we'll be on YouTube. Wherever it is. Right now, MAGA Coalition is working their asses off to make sure that we'll never get deplatformed by some crazy individuals with a jilted lover complex. And that's pretty much what we've been dealing with. All right, I've been telling them all the great things about you.
Pardon me, I could have filled up a 1-quart canteen, but that's, you know, my bladder.
We've been going a couple more, like 2.5 hours.
No, that's fine. Hey, it's just, but you were from what I heard, you were talking about what's going on with Glenn and what he's trying to do to to counteract what's going on. Hey, it's a process. I mean, it's a like I said last night. We just got to deal with Wednesday, and Wednesday's going to be an awakening, and things are going to change, and we just got to deal with it. This is part of the communist plan to shut down the communists, and the fascists use the same thing to shut down the free speech of individuals. Now, that's the First Amendment. And the Second Amendment, which people don't understand, and let me clarify real effing clear, the Second Amendment deals with giving people the arms and ability to resist or overthrow an unresponsive and overbearing government. The Constitution deals with support of the people, and the form of government doesn't matter. It could be any form of government, but the government has to comply with the Constitution. The government is irrelevant. Military people pledge allegiance, their life, to the Constitution of the United States. Drill that in. Not to the president, not to the Congress, but to a piece of paper that identifies our country and our values and what we will live and fight and die for, the Constitution. And it gives the Second Amendment, in support of the 10th Amendment, gives us the ability to deal with an overbearing and unresponsive government. So that you can't have the First Amendment, free speech, which they're knocking the hell out of, without the Second Amendment.
That's right.
And then the 10th Amendment kind of wraps it all together. The American people, if we want, as a group, as a unified group, can and legitimately overthrow an unresponsive and overbearing government like we threw out the British. Now, lawyers and judges go epileptic on that one, but that's what the fucking Constitution says.
Right. That's what it was designed to do. And
yeah, here's the word. Wait a minute. Give me a second.
Go ahead.
The word is when the government is scared of the people, you have a democracy. When the people are scared of the government, you have tyranny. That is it. If we're scared of the government, you have tyranny. You need to find a nice middle ground here. And folks, the last, what they call the Civil War, was incorrectly done. The winners got it. That was the war between two certified states. I've been to Sierra Leone. I've been to Liberia, where they had some really nasty civil wars. And you talk to the people that endured it. We don't want that here.
No.
We don't want a true civil war. So
No.
let's stop talking about that. Let's just vote these assholes out of office and campaign. Get out. You go vote. Take somebody. You're not allowed to go vote unless you take at least one person with you. Tell everybody that you know that you go vote. Take somebody else with you.
Absolutely.
That's a
thing. Don't apologize for that. That's profound. The Constitution is where it's at, and it's what it's all about. We were lucky enough to have a group of forefathers that could see in the future the kind of things that could mess up this type of country. I mean, what did Ben Franklin say when they asked him, is it a democracy? And he says, it's a republic if we can keep it. And they put things in place so we could, us the people, could keep it. And that's why they're going after our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights as hard as they are. That's where the battleground is at right now. They're after our First Amendment rights. They're trying to silence dissent or any kind of dissenting speech. All hate speech is just telling you, hey, shut the fuck up. They're trying to keep people from talking.
That's it.
Exactly. I don't want to offend somebody. So it's crazy. And then when you get, groups that are going apoplectic on true MAGA folks that are just putting out periscopes for free, putting out information for free. You don't get paid, Colonel Pillow. I don't get paid. Nobody in our group gets paid. We do this not for money. We do this for love of country. And because we want to see our country become great again. I want to see our country where the greatest generation looks down on us and says, yeah, they did it right. They fixed
with
it.
approval.
And I think that's what these kind of programs do. When we, if one person tonight learns something and it steeled their resolve to go out and call that congressman, to go out and knock a door, to go out and do anything they can do to help MAGA, whatever that may be, little or small, then you and I are affecting change. That's the reason I'm here. It's the only reason I'm doing it.
It's like Billy Graham. It's a mission, evangelist. Go out and tell people. I mean, hopefully you've learned something, or we've connected the dots for you. You feel confident enough to go out and talk to that crazy neighbor with the Clinton, whatever that guy's name was, tag on it, and say, well, do you believe in this or not? I lived in Washington State for a while, and I was one neighbor at a time, converting him to be Republican and asking him. I was fighting a losing battle. But
right. Well, I live up in Idaho.
One Democrat at a time, and logically think to him, okay, you got a gun rack in the back of your truck with a rifle on it. You got an NRA label, but you're voting for a Democrat. Explain that.
Right.
It was entertaining. It was, talking to people logically. If they start going nuts, no, they're what's the word? Liberalism, mental disorder. Not
Yes.
all of them are completely crazy. You connect the dots for them, they'll lighten up. But
I have seen that. In Washington, I noticed that the eastern side is red. The eastern side of Oregon is red. And the map holds true that most of our country and landmass is red. There's just little pockets of blue on the coast and on the edges and here and there. And I'm telling you, guys, stay strong. Stay excited. Stay pumped up, because this is how we affect change. This is how we do it. And if tomorrow Smooch Panda's channel's gone, I'll get another one. And I'll keep doing it.
Else.
Because I'm not getting paid to do this. I'm not doing this for views or anything else. I'm doing this to try and affect the change that we have to have done this year in 2018, so President Trump's agenda can be accomplished in 2019 and 2020. And then we'll get a nice little re-election.
21, 22.
Exactly. Colonel, I want to appreciate you coming on tonight in a big way.
Absolutely. You are out there?
It's amazing. We still got 50 people watching strong, but we were at 120 at one point, so we've gone late. Yeah.
We're getting through to people.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to look at my stuff that we didn't hit. We hit that. Oh, my funny thing about the Space Force.
Oh, yes.
We can go back to that later, but my only thing, the Air Force gets, because they're in the air, they get the space. That's the way it's always been. Personally, it should be a purple force in space, but you cannot establish a force until you have the ability to express or push forward force into an area, to like an aircraft carrier, to push forward that force to affect people's life. So talking about the Space Force and the Air Force having space is kind of premature until we have the ability to get people into space, to push forward our agenda into space, which we go back to a pillow talk way back. We can't make it by shooting a missile straight up with 2, 3, or 4 people. We have the ability to develop a space type craft that can fly through this atmosphere and then go into jet propulsion and work its way out or into orbit and establish a space station, which will give us, our national defense or nuclear national defense program by placing platforms up. And like I said, I talked to in the Mojave Desert by an Iranian naval gunfire officer that had been a physicist that was working on this type of stuff. Go figure.
Right.
The only thing they lacked was the gyro to stabilize the laser systems. Okay, so the only missing link here now is the ability of some type of craft to go through the atmosphere, convert to rocket engines, and take it into the atmosphere. Besides, after that, there's a whole Marine, there's a whole book of things that we can do. But national defense against missiles will be a thing of
Right.
missiles will be a thing of the past. Sorry, but my thing is it's all going to be purple. The Air Force doesn't have the balls to do it correctly. You're an Air Force guy, but the thing is, shock and awe. The only shock and awe was they blew up everything on my no fire list. Everything. I mean, from engineering equipment that was necessary to cause a problem later on, to blowing up the logistics base, the brand new. The Iraqis haven't even moved into it yet. Fiber optics logistics base. The Air Force blew the hell out of it. Nobody was even there. So then I get bitched out by the the Corps support group for having them drive around to the other side of Baghdad. Had to go into the Iraqi support facility that was like 30 years old. The Air Force blew the hell out of the other. I mean, you're sitting there, and then
you only hear that here on Pillow Talk. Do you get that kind of inside intel?
You're sitting there looking. I mean, again, that big. I had a conversation with an Air Force colonel that was being non-responsive, and I was starting to go to pound it out of him. And this big ass Fifth Corps deputy commander again, just I'm a slim 205 pounds at the time, and he got grabs me like I'm a paperweight and kind of apologizes to the Air Force colonel and takes me out and explains that you cannot say things like that.
Right.
It was an interesting conversation, but yeah, there's a lot of good things going on.
Well, in space, Trump, it's funny because you mentioned that, because Trump just mentioned that space is the next wartime platform, basically. And he was laughed at. By the MSN.
Is a fool.
Exactly. It's the MSN, so you nailed it. They are fools. There's no doubt.
Projection of power. You cannot project power until you have a base to project power from. And to get to the base, you have to have a logistic capability to get there. And they're getting ahead of themselves. I mean, I'm a good manager. I'm sitting there going, I'll be cocky. Hey, I can, if they give me the capabilities in 4 to 5 years, I can have that done with space platforms up there, because there's a lot of good aviators that will risk their damn lives to push that envelope to get that air rocket ship in the air, to move things, to be able to develop a space station, to be able to project force into space. And at that point in the Air Force, it's got to be purple. It's got to be all forces, because it's a mix of things. And I saw that at Joint Command that, everybody has their expertise in how they want things done. So Trump is not crazy, but we lack the ability to project a force into space or protect the planet or ourselves from intercontinental ballistic missiles until we're able to do that. And that's a pet peeve of mine, but I'll shut up on that one. But hey, Panda, thank you so much for hosting me tonight. I do appreciate it. Glenn, I'm sorry that, we had some problems. You expressed that to a lot of folks. That we got some problems. Hang tight. Look at the message boards and the different groups, and get the idea of when it's coming up. MNN will be back tomorrow night with Glenn somewhere at some time.
Absolutely. We know that's a fact.
You can't shut us down. That's the whole thing. They say they're the resistance. Fuck no, we're the resistance. We're fighting against the establishment to get the word out to people. And don't be scared to talk to people.
Exactly.
By the way, did you know this? Or, me on the other hand, I'll just blood into a conversation, but that's okay. Be polite when you talk to people about stuff. But with the knowledge is power. With the knowledge of what's going on and what has happened, you have more power in a conversation. And remember, when they start raising that voice, that means they have nothing else better to say. They cannot support their argument.
Exactly. And people that don't take facts or don't accept them, well, you're never going to convince them. But there is people out there. And I work with a couple that were from East or Western Washington. They're liberals. And after a couple of years of being next to me and watching President Trump, that one of them flat out said, he goes, I understand why liberals are typically so young, because once you grow up and realize it's a bunch of bullshit, you see that shit doesn't fly in the real world. So that's his, you get knowledge by, you get power through knowledge. And so we need to impart that knowledge and empower people to make that decision and say, wait a minute, just because MSM is saying this, or just because a group of fake MAGA over here is saying this, I'm going to use my own mind, my own critical thinking, and look at where the facts are. And anyone that's looked at anything that's gone on in the MAGA movement last 6 months and used a little bit of critical thinking, well, they're the ones that watch this show. So, there's people that have seen what's going on. And that's all I hope. For anybody that is trying to shut down a MAGA platform like this, shame on you. Shame on you. As far as I'm concerned, you're anti-American. And this is exactly how we're going to get this information out to as many people as we can, by speaking up and not being silenced. Once again, Colonel Pillow, an honor, sir. I cannot wait to do this again with you. Have a great night. Give the missus a hug for me. Tell her it come from Smooch. Give her a kiss for me. Hell. It's your lips, not mine. So, all right. Don't want to offend you in any way. You got a wonderful lady. I loved meeting you guys, and you're true blue in person as you are on these scopes. And so I appreciate everything you do.
That's polite.
And once again, thank you for your service, sir.
Well, absolutely. It was a pleasure to serve the United States of America. I was glad I had the opportunity to do it. It fulfilled my life.
Absolutely.
And can anybody tell me why I have arthritis in my knuckles?
Did you punch a few people? Military boxing? Gotcha.
Okay, guys.
All right.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And we'll keep you informed on the next Pillow Talk. And Glenn will be somewhere tomorrow night between, 6 and 10 Eastern to Pacific time.
Yeah, something like that.
Kind of put it out on the web to let you know our little scope stuff to let you know where it's going to be at, okay?
Absolutely. We'll make sure everybody knows. I appreciate you. I'm going to let you go, Colonel, and I'm going to play this video for the folks that missed it with our technical glitches earlier.
Okay.
So thank you.
Good night, all.
Have a good one. All right, fam. Thank you for coming into Pandamonium, the Smooch Panda channel, and making it great again. It was great to have Colonel Pillow on. What a great patriot he is. This video I'm going to show you is just a little montage, and it's for the diehards, the ones that are watching right now, the ones that are still with us. A little compilation that was put together basically showing the complete hypocrisy of YVA and that whole thing. So enjoy the video, you guys. Thanks for stopping in. Have a great night. And remember, we have to MAGA till it hurts.
We, as an independent media show, cannot be directly connected to a super PAC. It doesn't make sense, right? Because they're raising money for candidates. We're just objectively talking about candidates. So, yeah. So what we decided to do is, and it's unfortunate because we really love some of these folks like Adam Gingrich, who's been a fantastic part of the show. He is now the president of a super PAC. And so for the time being, he can no longer be an official part of the show. He can come on as a guest host and give us his analysis, but as far as being a regular Tuesday night co-host, we just can't do anymore until his commitment with the Super PAC is over. There's no bad blood here. There's no bad feeling here. It's just purely, we just don't want to get in trouble with the FEC.
Breaking news comes in from the local ABC station, the exact station that posted Brendan Dilley in the lead last week, and then it was mysteriously taken down because it didn't fit the narrative, as we reported yesterday.
Folks, you heard it. Your Voice America, Brendan Dilley, who is our regular Wednesday night
co-host, is running for Congress there, and 2 polls had him leading about a week ago, and hopefully he's winning today. We'll see what happens. But thank you, Ann Vandersteel, and tell Brennan that we wish him the very best out there, okay?
I have a problem with me telling you that the president is fully aware of who I am.
You know, in the old days, we had mental institutions. We had a lot of them. And you could nab somebody like this because, you know, they did. They knew something was off.
Before I ever ran for this, by the way. That's not... He knows who I am. He knew who I was before I ran for Congress. How do you think I started getting information, you guys?
Someone found out who I really am, and they posted it on Twitter. Because of this, I'm going to have to go on the run. I wouldn't call following or seeing Ginger's tweets lucky. She's a deep state plant, just like all the other mentally ill cultists. Just look at the candidates they're backing. It says everything you need to know. Now, I have to admit to you that I am the deep state. I have to leave. I have to leave my home and everything that I've ever known. This is serious, and my life could be in danger. If you look at his latest poll, he posted on Facebook just a few hours ago. He's going to win in Arizona, District 8. He's polling at 41%. And as you guys know, Brendan Dilley is going after the deep state. He has intelligence reports. And now I am in the crosshairs. From Greece, I was then transported to Prague. Unfortunately, this afternoon, I was apprehended. I haven't had any water. The only thing that there is to eat here are rotten Georgia peaches. There's one guy 2 cells down from me. He's the only one who can eat them. And I think it's because he has 2 rows of wisdom teeth on one side of his face. Frankly, the entire thing is disgusting to me.
A lot of shit's been said in the past month about me, other people. Let me tell you something. Twitter people don't get to tell people who's MAGA, who's not MAGA, who's a Trump supporter, who's not a Trump supporter. That's fucking stupid.
So we got 1% last time. Now we'll just get 2%, you guys. That's our goal. 2%. We're going to make it modest goals. 2% of the vote. We'll raise like $200,000 and we'll get 2% of the vote. That's the goal. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We're going to be the most obnoxious 2% vote in the history of mankind.
When you hear 50 fucking Harleys rumbling up to your fucking doorstep, bitch, you're gonna be running out of your back door screaming, clown, motherfucker.
There's a million.
They lied about me. I was condemned. This is my pain. But nobody can help me, and I lost my golf career.
This is Crazy Amy World, or Amy Crazy World.
After numerous tweets at me by assorted non-citizens, mental patients, and individuals who, according to the public record, have a world record for the suicidal attempts, I have now been forced to state publicly that I must formally denounce the Glenn Herman, Adam Gingrich, and the Brian Hassini.
I want to thank everybody for catching this replay of my interview with the great patriot, Colonel Pillow. I appreciate everybody coming in. Please share this out. There will be more videos coming on Smooch Panda's YouTube channel. In the meantime, if you do want to see more work from the genius that put the MNN retrospective together, Glenn Herman, then you can go to maganews.net. That's right, for the real news, all MAGA, all the time, with no sycophant spin. Go to maganews.net. If you want to help out the MAGA movement, then I suggest check out www.magacoalition.com, on Twitter at RealMagaCo. Love you guys. Another episode of Pandamonium will be coming at you soon. Remember, MAGA till it hurts.